Success Summit. We have a great day on tap today, and I just want to welcome everyone. And we're so excited to have you. As we get started here, here's what we're going to cover today. We're going to have Tony Watson talk about the power of tax savings in your economic in this uncertain economy. We're going to have Raising Capital expert Brad Blazar talk about how he's raised millions of dollars in capital by hosting his own events. We're going to have me, Jason Burke, event expert and CEO of the High Performance Summit, talk about how to keep your events on budget. We're going to have Darin from Keap, international marketing expert, talk about how to get organized, how to get customers, how to get paid. And I'm going to be talking about how to select big thought leaders for your events and how to select speakers for your event. And we're going to raffle off an Amazon gift card, $250 Amazon gift card at the end of day one today. You do need to be present to win that. And so welcome to the High Performance Summit. We're going to get started here momentarily with Tony Watson. He'll be coming on. He'll be our first speaker from Robert Hall and Associates. So welcome, everyone.
I work for Robert Hall & Associates. We are a full-service consulting firm based out of the Southern California area, Glendale area, Southern California. We are the go-to real estate and small business tax professionals here in the Southern California region. And we've been doing this, gosh, for going on 50 years now. I myself have been with the firm for 17 years, but Bob Hall has been doing this since 1971. And one of the more important topics that we cover in our webinars is the power of Inc. and how to utilize entity structures to save tax and to also protect assets along the way. So today's topic, tax savings during times of economic uncertainty and economic recovery. Hopefully we are on the tail end of this pandemic as we start to open back up, and even under the new mandates and whatnot, hopefully business can get back to whatever the new norm of business as usual will be. But as we progress into the end of 2021 and into 2022, we will start to see a little bit more planning done on the business side, especially from the asset protection side of business operations. And there probably is no better way, except for having a finely tuned insurance policy. There really is no better way or greater way to protect your business than to have it set up or rental property set up under an entity structure, such as an LLC or an S Corp or a C Corporation. But we're going to talk about that today. So once again, my name is Tony Watson. I've been doing this for 17 years. I'm not only an enrolled agent practicing actual tax preparation services and providing tax preparation services, but also I am the public speaker for our firm. Right now, currently, just my clientele alone, this number is a little out of date. I think just in my client roster alone, roughly about 350 million in annual real estate dealings, obviously on a year-to-year basis. I am also the keynote speaker for our firm, speaking at over 140 plus events across the US from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Most of our educational webinars are held during tax season and during year-end planning season. But I'll tell you that the free education that we provide our clients and our potential clients, it is incredibly valuable, and we don't charge for it. It's all just essentially free education for anybody who wants to tune in and listen. We do offer free consultations. So at the end of the day, if you are looking to switch tax preparation firms and you need to sit down and kind of interview a tax advisor to see if they're the right fit for you and your business, we do offer free 30-minute, normally in person. Because of the pandemic, we've had to switch everything to digital platform for the time being. But once again, hopefully we'll be back up and running for in-person appointments. But FaceTime, Skype, email, fax, if you're still faxing things these days, and phone call, we can get those answers to you and provide that free consultation. So the biggest question today is incorporating right for you? One thing just straight out the gate I want to mention is that incorporating is not right for everyone, okay? Incorporating is right in very specific and unique situations, but for the most part, if you haven't bought your first property, if you haven't even started the business yet, but you're thinking about the proper way to hit the ground running in this new business venture, incorporating should actually be something that you sort of wait to do, because you don't want to tie yourself up with a bunch of unnecessary costs in the startup phases of your business. So is incorporating right for you? That is a great question. We call it, or I call it at my firm, the interview process. I have to sit down with a client and ask them 3 very specific questions to determine whether or not incorporating is right for them. Number 1, do you own personal assets? Do you own the home that you live in? Do you own a retirement plan? Do you have inheritance? Do you have any stock or brokerage accounts? Those are all personal assets. They're tied to your primary social security number, and therefore separating your business from everything that you own personally might be worth it from an asset protection standpoint. And that's exactly what incorporating does. It assigns your property or your business its own identification number aside from your social security number. So asset separation equals asset protection and vice versa. So question 1 is, do you own any personal assets? Question 2 is, what is the consistency of your net revenue going to be on a year-to-year basis? The consistency in net revenue is important because we want to figure out, okay, do I receive the asset protection benefit? And am I also going to receive some sort of financial or tax break benefit from incorporating? At about $45,000 to $50,000 in self-employed net revenue, it does make sense at that point to at least entertain the conversation of incorporating. Whether or not you take that next step to incorporate is really based on the advice from your licensed advisor, or whether or not timing is right for you. Timing is everything with incorporating. And so if you had a great year this year because of an unforeseen event like a pandemic, which caused your revenue to spike, but it's not a very consistent level of income for you as a self-employed individual, incorporating might not be right for you. But if this type of income or this level of income is consistent 2 or more years running, then incorporating might actually end up saving you tax as well. And we'll dive more into detail in a couple slides here. So question 2 is about net revenue. Question 3, normally we don't even get to question 3 because we can answer this overall incorporating question in Q1 and Q2. But by question 3, we're talking about risk and liability. What kind of level do you operate at as far as risk and liability is concerned in your industry? Let me give you an example. A realtor has risk and liability in what they do. They have E&O insurance, they have malpractice insurance, they have liability, they have all of their insurance policies there and in place. But unlike a skydiving instructing business, which it doesn't matter what you have in the contract, it doesn't matter what you have going on in all of the other aspects of your business. At the end of the day, you're jumping out of an airplane with a human body attached to your chest, right? So a skydiving instructing business will tend to have a much higher risk and liability in that specific industry than, compared to the real estate industry or a consulting industry of some sort. So question 3 is, what kind of risk and liability do you operate at? And in that example, the skydiving instructing business may incorporate, whether Q1 or Q2 is answered yes or not, they might incorporate just to protect themselves moving forward in case, heaven forbid, anything happens. So you have to sit down and go over these questions and have this conversation with a licensed advisor to make sure that incorporating is right for you. Just because your neighbor, your coworker, your family member, your friend, just because they incorporated and received a benefit for it, doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to incorporate for the same reason or receive the same benefit. So which structure is right for you? Or, we're going to talk about the LLCs, the S Corps, the C corporations. But first and foremost, for some of you who are listening in today, you might think, well, if I have a good insurance policy, would I really need an entity structure? And I want to make sure that we all understand that these two things are completely separate from each other, meaning that insurance is there and in place to pay out a settlement in case an unforeseen event happens. We don't know that we're going to be pulling out of a parking lot and be sideswiped by a drunk driver, right? So we have insurance to fix our car and they have insurance to fix their car, however that works out. We have liability insurance, we have malpractice insurance, we have E&O insurance, we have all of these insurance policies to protect us in case an unforeseen event happens. It actually has a dollar value as far as a payout is concerned. Whereas an entity structure doesn't have a payout value. An entity merely separates business and personal assets from each other. It assigns your business its own identification number separate from your primary social security number. And so in theory, you don't technically own the business or the property anymore. The EIN number of your business, the actual business name, owns that asset. And you individually are separate from that business. You are connected from a payroll perspective, or maybe from a flow through what's called a K1 form, connection. But as far as asset separation is concerned, this is really the only way to truly separate business assets for legal purposes. So just make sure that you could have all the insurance in the world, but at the end of the day, if your social security number is still attached to all of these business assets and somebody sues you individually, they could technically come after everything that is registered to your social security number. That's a value, that they would want to come after. So asset separation equals asset protection. And the most popular entity structure, in the 17 years that I've done taxes and assisted with incorporating businesses, I'd say the most popular entity would be the limited liability company. Now, LLC stands for limited liability company, not limited liability corporation. I want to make sure that that is something that we take away from this slide here, because I've talked to many people over the years. I've been doing this 17 years. I've done, I think over 1,000 webinars now since first starting with our marketing department about 10 or 11 years ago. And most people think that an LLC files articles of incorporation. And so they think that it is, oh yeah, I'm incorporated, I'm an LLC, when in fact, an LLC does not file articles of incorporation. An LLC files articles of organization. And an LLC is not owned by shares, it's owned by percent. So when I own 100% of an asset that's held in an LLC, I don't own 100% of the shares of the business. I own truly a percentage of the business, which in this case is 100%. And the reason why I'm making a big deal out of the percent versus the shares, I'll come full circle with why that is the case here, or why I'm trying to make a point here. And it's because the LLC really doesn't provide any major tax benefit. It does allow you to contribute property, to distribute property, to contribute capital, to distribute capital, to share ownership with other partners, free from having any sort of major tax implication or tax liability. So if I go out and I buy a $500,000 property, I quit claim the deed into an LLC, I am not trading that $500,000 property for shares of a business. I'm merely capitalizing the business with a $500,000 asset. And once again, this will all make sense in a slide or two here. But LLCs, once again, don't provide any income tax benefit. They only provide great limited liability protection on large depreciable assets most of the time. For business owners who don't own assets, like a realtor who earns commission income, that's all self-employed revenue, and then they have expenses to reduce all of the income. Because it doesn't own any assets, a self-employed business like a realtor business might incorporate as an LLC for great limited liability protection, but may, after a conversation with their tax advisor, may elect for the LLC to be taxed as a different type of entity. Because if the LLC is not going to save you any tax, why would you stay filing as an LLC? What if we could have the best of both worlds? What if we could have the great liability protection of an LLC, but all of the tax breaks and the tax benefits of maybe a subchapter S corporation? And so the LLC doesn't necessarily have to stay as an LLC. If it makes sense from an income tax perspective, we can convert the LLC into an S corporation. Now, one thing that I do want to make sure that we all understand before I move on to the S corporation is that LLCs, like I mentioned just a couple seconds ago, they're great for protecting large depreciable assets. So rental properties should only really ever belong or go into an LLC. And there's one main reason from an income tax perspective why this should be the case. Rental income, if you buy a rental property and you're renting it out and you have your expenses and then you've got some net profit at the end of the day or some cash flow, when you go to pay tax on that rental property income, you only ever have to pay federal income tax and state income tax. You don't ever have to pay Social Security and Medicare tax on rental income. That's one of the beautiful things about rental investments. So you only ever have to settle up with the federal government and whatever state you file in. And if you live in a state that doesn't have state income tax, that's a big win for you. With self-employed income, so if you're a realtor and you're generating self-employed commission income, you pay federal tax, state income tax, and then you pay this nasty self-employment tax, which alone is 15.3%. And that self-employment tax is you contributing as a self-employed individual to Social Security and Medicare. Unlike a W-2 wage earner who already has it taken out of their paycheck, right? You get a paycheck, a payroll paycheck, and you receive a W-2, you automatically have to pay Social Security, Medicare, state disability, unemployment insurance, employment training tax before you even get the check deposited into your account. That is the W-2 wage side of things. If you're self-employed, you still have to contribute to Social Security and Medicare, except it's not your payroll tax anymore. It's just you contributing at the end of each year or on a quarterly basis to pay for your obligation to all of these social pots that the government expects us to eventually collect from. So an LLC, whether you're a rental property owner or a self-employed individual, won't save you any tax. Rental income, because it doesn't pay self-employment tax, it's great for protection. The LLC is great for protecting that large depreciable asset. But if you're self-employed and you have that self-employed earning income, as once again, an example would be a realtor, why would you ever want to put your federal, state, and self-employed taxable income into an entity that doesn't actually save you tax? So the realtor, at the end of the day, starts the LLC thinking that, oh, it's going to save me a bunch of tax. But when they come and talk to their tax professional, we flip them from an LLC into a subchapter S corporation. And it's not two separate entities. It's literally a 3-page form that's filed with the federal government that says to the IRS, hey, I am not going to file as an LLC anymore. I'm going to file as a subchapter S corporation. It's just a conversion of LLC to S corporation. But on the state side, for instance, you are still, for liability protection purposes, an LLC. So you get the best of both worlds. Now you are converting your business into an entity that is, in fact, the only entity that can save you tax while still achieving great limited liability protection on the state side and all of your assets that you own in that state. Now, how the heck does the subchapter S corporation save you tax? Well, pretty straightforward as far as tax savings is concerned. The subchapter S corporation is not going to save you federal tax or state income tax, but what it will help you reduce is that nasty 15.3% of self-employment tax. So just for ease of calculation, I've thrown up an example on the screen here. Let's assume that your business, after all expenses are taken into account, is generating $100,000 in net profit. Okay, this is after your mileage, your cell phone, your online charges, your office rent, your furniture purchase, your equipment. I mean, I'm talking about everything. And let's assume that just for ease of calculation, let's assume that your net revenue is 100 grand. Now that you are no longer a sole proprietor or an LLC, once again, sole proprietors, LLCs, they pay the same tax rate. Now that you are an S corporation, you are technically no longer self-employed. You are required to be an employee of your own corporation, and employees receive W-2 payroll, which can be as low as 40% of your net income. So in this case, 100 grand is your net revenue. You pay yourself a 40% reasonable salary, which is your W-2. So 40 grand is now your W-2. And then you as the business owner, as this S corporation, get to write off your payrolled employees, which happens to be you. So 100 grand minus 40,000 leaves you with flow through profit, or leftover profit in this case, of $60,000. Now, why the heck would you want to go through all of these, these steps to pay yourself a salary and then have net profit over and file 2 tax returns? Well, in this scenario, what you've done is you've split your 100 grand profit into 2 numbers where only one number is subject to federal, state, and self-employment tax. All numbers are subject to federal and state income tax, but there's only one number in this scenario now that is subject to that nasty 15.3% of Social Security Medicare tax. And it's not called self-employment tax anymore. It's called payroll tax. And that amount is only taxable on the 40 grand W-2 that you issued yourself. So on $60,000 you have avoided, remember, tax avoidance is illegal, tax evasion is not. So we are properly avoiding 15.3% Social Security Medicare tax on $60,000 of your company's profit. That calculates out to be just shy of about 10 grand, I believe, in overall tax that you're saving. And that's only on about 100 grand of profit. So let's break this down further. Left-hand column, if you're a sole proprietor LLC, you're paying max tax rates across the board because there is no tax benefit to being a sole proprietor. There is no tax break or tax benefit to being an LLC. But as an S corporation, you can see, once again, it doesn't matter how you split the 100 grand, federal and state income tax stay the exact same. But look what happens to your self-employment tax. It drops from $15,300 down to about $6,100 if you pay yourself that reasonable salary, which overall yields a Social Security Medicare tax savings of about $9,180. Earlier in the first slide, I had mentioned that question 2 was about net profit. And I said, it only really makes sense to incorporate your business if your net revenue is consistently at 45 to roughly 50 grand of net profit. Well, look at the very bottom. 50 grand still yields a net profit or net tax savings of about $4,600. So the next question you probably have is, okay, well, how much does all of this cost me? I have to run payroll. I have to file 2 tax returns. I have to do consulting work before the end of the year. Industry average to operate a corporation, at least here in the state of California, is about $2,200 to $2,500 per year. That's including California's miscellaneous $800 filing fee. In other states, it could be a heck of a lot less. So you figure that at 50 grand of net profit, if it's costing you about 2 grand, let's say, to file as a corporation, but it's saving you $4,600 in overall tax, not only did you save enough tax to cover the tax preparation fee and the payroll fees and everything else, but you've actually made money in the process. You've actually been able to retain some of the wealth that you've built yourself over the past 365 days. So keep this in mind. Incorporating is not right for everyone, but if the numbers make sense, and from an asset protection, if the legal side makes sense, do not waste time in incorporating yourself. Incorporating is not just for the eBays and the Starbucks and the Googles of the world. Incorporating is for businesses with net profit as low as roughly $50,000. But it has to be consistent. It can't be a one-off year where you had a great year, but normally you're just at a break-even scenario. So just keep that in mind for future purposes. One question I've been getting a lot, over the phone lines as of late is coming out of 2020, because everybody was forced to work from home. Is the in-home office still going to have a very high risk for audit under the current IRC and future IRC? Well, I professionally, I know that the in-home office will always continue to have a higher risk for audit because it's not really the deduction that gets audited. Yes, it's the form in theory that the government questions, but it's not the legitimacy of the deduction. It's the reasonable allocation of square footage that the taxpayer is using. Because remember that there's a whole 2, 3, 4-page part of the Internal Revenue Code that states that in-home office deductions are ordinary, necessary, and legitimate. But what gets people in trouble with the in-home office is above and beyond those 3 requirements, the ordinary, necessary, and legitimacy of the write-off, you have to make sure that you're being reasonable with the square footage allocation that you're deducting. Some people try to write off 40, 50% of their home as an office space. And at that point, the government might call your bluff. And this happens to be one of the only deductions the government can still come to your house to verify. Aside from payroll tax audits, if you're a large payroll company, or if you have a lot of salaried employees, the IRS can still come and verify that those employees actually do work for your company. But the in-home office deduction is based on square footage of your primary residence. And so the government can still come and measure to make sure that you're being reasonable with the allocation. That's why it's really unique when you incorporate yourself. You actually no longer file an in-home office form as a corporation. You actually pay yourself rent out of your corporation to rent back the space inside of your house to your business. And so therefore, you're not filing this highly audited, what's called a Form 8829 form. That's the in-home office deduction form. It has close to a 70 to 75% chance for audit each year. You no longer are filing that as a corporation. You're filing a Schedule E, which is a rental property. So if you have a 12 by 12 room inside of your house that is office space and you're incorporated, you would cut yourself a check every month to rent back the 12 by 12 room to your corporation. And therefore, you no longer file the highly audited form. You file a Schedule E, which has less than probably a 2% chance for audit. And at that point, you get to offset the rental income with mortgage interest, property taxes, insurance, improvements, and then also depreciation on the property. So just be aware that the game changes a lot when you incorporate, not only from a self-employed tax side of the equation, but also from the in-home office deduction side of things. So, if there's pistons firing right now in your brain thinking, wow, I've been missing out on a lot of these benefits, do not hesitate. If you've been hitting this stride and you've been making 45, 50 grand in net revenue for some time now, you definitely want to sit down with your tax advisor and make sure that if now is the time to incorporate, that you go ahead and do that, especially as we encroach on the fourth quarter of 2021, I'm sorry. In 2022, nothing will change for the S corporation. Some of the Green Book has talked about changing the tax rate for C corporations, but at the end of the day, the Green Book hasn't really discussed anything as far as changes are concerned to the 1120 S corporation. So all of these benefits that we've talked about, they should be sticking around for a pretty long time. They've been around since the early 70s. So just be aware that this is a benefit that you may be able to take advantage of. Coming out of 2018 for business owners is something called the Qualified Business Income Deduction. And this essentially, it means that if you are married filing joint, or if you're married filing separate, single, or head of household, you can follow the right-hand column. For married filing joint, you're going to follow the left-hand column. If you are self-employed, you have what's called qualified business income. And if you are married filing joint and your taxable income is under $326,600, or if you're single, head of household, married filing separate, and you're below $163,000 in taxable income, you would qualify for the full QBI deduction. Which, what does QBI mean? QBI is not a venereal disease. It stands for qualified business income. And it means that if you are below one of these two thresholds, you qualify for a 20% credit against your qualified business income, meaning that if you have $300,000 of qualified business income, all self-employed net revenue amounts, and you're married filing joint, the first $60,000 of your $300,000 QBI amount is tax-free. That is $60,000 of your income that does not pay a single dime of federal tax. Now, this is all great on the federal side. The states have not conformed to the QBI deduction. So just understand that this is a massive credit on the IRS return, nothing credited on the state return. So just be aware of that. And that 60 grand, let's say you're in the 25% bracket, that 60 grand of non-taxable income just saved you about 14.5 in overall tax liability. It literally saved you $14,400 in income tax. And so the reason why this is really important to understand, especially moving forward into the end of year planning quarter, because we're doing a lot of year-end planning in the fourth quarter this year, we need to figure out creative ways for business owners to drop themselves below these qualified thresholds. I mean, think about it. If you're sitting at about 400 grand in overall taxable income, married filing joint, and you have the ability to go out and max out a 401k, profit sharing plan, IRA, go out and buy a company vehicle and accelerate the depreciation on the vehicle, and effectively drop yourself from 400 grand below $326,600, this would not only allow you to reinvest money back into your business, funding a bunch of money into your retirement plan, acquiring new company assets, but also qualifying you for 20% of your qualified business income to be tax-free, literally tax-free. You don't pay a single dime of federal tax on that 20%. And obviously, if you're well above the phase-out threshold of $426,600 or $213,300, if you're single, head of household, or married filing separate, then there's a little bit more of a game that you need to play. You need to definitely sit down before the end of the year and figure out ways to reduce your taxable income by reinvesting profits back into infrastructure. But this is a massive credit for the self-employed world, not only on the cash flow side from rental investments, but also the self-employed earners, the realtors, the online consultants, the 1099 contractors of the world. This means, because you're getting paid self-employed revenue, that you are a qualified business income earner, and therefore you can qualify for this benefit. You just have to plan ahead. One phrase that goes really well with the tax industry is failing to plan is ultimately planning to fail. That is something that should ring out in your mind at the end of the third quarter every single year. You need to put aside some time in the fourth quarter of each year to sit down with your tax advisor, figure out creative ways to retain more of your wealth. Not really to do tax planning, right? I don't like calling it tax planning. I like calling it wealth retention planning, because the less tax you pay, the more you get to keep, right? That's you just have to turn on that switch and start thinking a little differently and figure that every dollar in tax that I save is a dollar I retain of my hard-earned wealth. So keep that in mind. Obviously, we've covered a lot today. We offer a number of services at Robert Hall & Associates. We do tax preparation. That's our main service, but we also incorporate businesses. We do bookkeeping. We have payroll services, financial planning, estate planning. We've been around since 1971, and we're kind of a powerhouse here in the Southern California area, but we work mainly and specifically with rental property investors and self-employed individuals. That is probably 90% of our clientele. And those are the individuals who we can help the most. Anyone who has rental cash flow, self-employed revenue, and the ability to incorporate just adds fuel to that fire in a good way. So keep that in mind. And once again, we do offer free consultations. A lot of people use this free consultation for us to review 2 years of tax filings, figure out if there's any red flags or triggers on those tax filings. And if we need to go back and amend anything, we will go ahead and do that. But at the end of the day, it's a free consultation. And so once again, we'll review 2 years of tax returns, check for any possible audit triggers, and then also add you to our periodic tax email update, which will let you know about our upcoming free educational webinars. And hopefully you'll be able to log in and learn a little bit about some other topics. Some other topics that I speak on: year-end planning, buy low, sell high is a good real estate webinar. I do the Power of Inc. We do estate planning and trust planning webinars, and we have guest speakers and panels and whatnot. And all of our education is free. So that's one of the big bangs for your buck there, is that you don't have to pay for any of it, which is great. So I'll go ahead and leave this up on the screen. I don't know if there's any questions that anyone has. I think the Q&A section is open and ready. If anybody has any immediate questions for me, and I'd be more than happy to answer those. And if you want to just skip right over the Q&A and go right to the 30-minute consultation, you can go ahead and text the word Robert Hall to the number 72,000, or take your smartphone device and wave it over that QR code, and it prompts you to sign up for that free consultation. So I'm actually glad nobody walked into this this little office center at the hospital. It's nice and quiet. The air conditioning is blasting, which is great. It's you know, hospital food isn't always great, but the Orange County hospitals have really good food. So
that's good to hear. I'm sorry to hear your mom's in the hospital, but you want to connect with Tony and Robert Hall and Associates. You want to text that number 72,000. Get your free consultation today. They're a great resource. They can help you preserve your wealth from the IRS, basically help you preserve your wealth. So you definitely want to reach out to Tony. Tony did a great job. Does anyone have any questions for Tony? You can put those in the chat. Is there anything else you want to add, Tony?
You know, just with everything that's going on in the world right now, there's a lot of uncertainty with what the financial world has in store for them. You know, we have this green book that's been introduced under the Biden administration. Nothing has been finalized, so don't make any rash decisions solely based on speculation. When that tax bill rolls out and we have a final scripture, as you know, set in stone kind of scripture, even at that point, things can change. The government changes things at the 23rd hour all the time. And so just because they finalize maybe a 2022 tax bill doesn't necessarily mean that that is going to stick into 2023, 2024, and so on. So before you start liquidating assets, liquidating retirement accounts, walking away from jobs, moving out of the country, whatever you're deciding to do, just understand that we go through this every, 10, 15, 20 years. It seems to be an economic recession every 12 to 14 years. And that may be the case coming out of the pandemic and because of certain changes on the tax code side. But just try to get the best advice possible. Don't listen to what's going on in the news world and your neighbors and your coworkers gabbing about that stuff. Hire licensed professionals to advise you. These are the individuals who have worked through recessions. These are the people who own businesses, who understand how the IRS thinks and how they act, and what changes are possible and what changes aren't. So just keep that in mind. Fear breeds fear. And so just make sure that you have the right advisors around you before you start making any of those big financial decisions. That's it.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Tony. We appreciate you. Great job with your presentation today. Definitely reach out to Tony Watson, Robert Hall Associates. Again, text the number for your free consultation at 772-000. Thank you again, Tony. Really appreciate it, your presentation today.
Thank you again. Yeah, thanks again. And everybody have a great day and stay safe out there.
All right. You too.
Take care.
All right. Well, I want to introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker is a raising capital, Brad Blazar. He's my personal coach. He's raised over $2 billion. He's a published author. He's one of the top guys when it comes to raising capital. So I want to bring on Brad Blazar. Welcome, Brad. Thank you for joining the High Performance Summit.
Great. Well, thank you for having me today, Jason. It's great to be here with everybody. Looking forward to sharing a lot of knowledge, more importantly, adding a lot of value to this afternoon's High Performance Success Summit. As Jason said, my name is Brad Blazar, and I'm here today really to teach you a couple of things on how to attract how to raise, how to close high net worth investor capital so that you can build, buy, or scale a business, or maybe fund a special project like real estate. And this is a skill that I learned many years ago, and it stayed with me throughout my entire life. It's afforded me the ability today, fast forward, to raise over $2 billion in investor capital, primarily through brokerage firms, family offices, investment advisory firms. But when it comes to raising money, I've done it all. I mean, I've raised money from foreign countries, sovereign wealth funds, insurance, pensions. For those of you that are interested in this, go to Amazon, get my book, Winning at the Capital Game. This was just released. It's my third book, and it covers everything you need to know from A to Z, literally on how to attract, how to raise, and how to close investor capital. So what I want to do today is I want to share my screen with everybody and really get into how to do this. Because it's not nearly as difficult as a lot of people think it is. Raising money from investors is simply one of those things that can be learned. Think of it like riding a bicycle. Think of it like playing the piano. Right now, if you're here and you're watching this and you're saying to yourself, man, I'd love to learn how to do this, like just learning how to raise a couple $100,000 or learning how to raise $1 million from investors would change my life, but I just don't know how to do it. What you're letting happen is you're letting fear come in the way of your success, okay? It's the self-doubt, it's the limiting beliefs that are holding you back from doing big things in life. And fear stands for false evidence appearing real. Let me say that again. Fear, or the fear of doing something, is false evidence that appears real. And you have a choice, one of two things, okay? You can face everything and run in the other direction and never get anything accomplished, never do anything big in your life, or you can face everything and rise, okay? Personally, in my life, I use fear as a major motivating factor. As an example, earlier this year, I made the decision to host an event. And I knew I needed to get a fairly well-known keynote speaker to show up and speak just to put butts in seats. And so I reached out to Shark Tank's Kevin Harrington, and he agreed. And he said, I'll do it, but I'm going to do it virtually. I can't be there in person because I'm concerned about COVID, but I'll do it virtually. You can Zoom me in, and I'll be more than happy to speak. And it'll cost you $17,500. I said, great, let's do it. That was before I had sold a single ticket. But you see, that's the kind of risk that I'm willing to take because I'm confident in myself. And I figured out after I made the commitment to do it, how to get it done, how to pay for it, and how to ink out a small profit. In addition to ticket sales to fill the room, I made the decision to bring in corporate sponsors. That's right. I got a huge event. We're going to have 100 people there. How would you like to have a table, be able to get up on the stage and talk about what your firm does? You're a self-directed IRA custodian. That's going to be a big interest. You can have a table for $6,000. And I got a number of companies to sign up. You see, I use fear as a motivator. Just a few weeks ago, I made the decision to fly on a private jet from Houston to Nashville to attend an event. Private jet, $20,000. I made the decision. I had no idea how I was going to pay for it. And then it came to me, I'll sell seats to other people to join me on the jet. I flew for free. See, that's how big people think. And so today, as I go through this, I want you to realize, if you're here, that yes, you can raise money. And more importantly, I can teach you how to do it because we've raised hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. So let's dispel, number one, some beliefs and misconceptions that you might have about raising money from high net worth investors. Number one, your age doesn't matter. And a lot of people that are in their 20s think that age matters when it comes to raising massive amounts of money. It does not. After all, how could I, as a 23-year-old college dropout, literally raise millions of dollars and start an oil company and today be teaching other people how to do the same? You see, so age doesn't matter. I started and launched an oil company at the age of 23. I had never drilled an oil well. I had never ran a business. I was confident and I got on the phone and I knew how to raise money. So age doesn't matter. Number two, you don't need to know a whole bunch of rich people to raise money. And personally, I have never raised money from family and friends. I know some people do. That's great. I made the decision never to do it. Here's why. Many times you cannot control the outcome of an investment. Real estate is a cyclical industry, right? We all know that sometimes things work out the way we intend them to, sometimes they don't. And I always want to be the person that's capable of walking into the holiday dinner holding my head high rather than running for the corner trying to evade a conversation. Because if you take money from a friend or family member and the investment doesn't work out as you thought it would, it really becomes a very, very tough thing in that relationship and it causes tremendous tension. The next thing, anybody, and I mean anybody, can do this once they learn a few basic skills and really understand what's needed for success. And I want to prove to you that anybody can do this. I want to share a story with you. When I was in the oil and gas business, we had a fairly decent sized company, and I was looking to hire a couple of additional salespeople to my team. This was back in the early 1980s, before the advent of the internet technology we have today. So we were running ads in the local newspaper, the Austin American Statesman, getting resumes, sent in to us. One day, my receptionist got on the phone and she said, "Brad, Jack's here for his interview." I said, "Great, I'll be right there." As I walked around the corner from the hallway into my reception area, there on the couch was a gentleman, probably in his early mid-30s, ready for an interview. And he was literally wearing a pair of jeans that had holes in the knees. He had on work boots that were covered with dust and mud. He had on a flannel shirt. He had a big mullet for a haircut. For those of you that have ever seen the movie Joe Dirt, right, with David Spade, he literally was Joe Dirt's first cousin, and he had a big old Fu Manchu mustache. Now, this guy was a train wreck by anybody's definition, especially showing up for an interview in a corporate setting in a major office building. Most CEOs, most managers would have discounted him and sent him on his way, just saying, "Jack, I'm sorry, you're not dressed appropriately for the interview. Either reschedule or come back some other time." But that's not me. I brought him into my conference room. I sat him down. I got to ask the right questions. And after a while, I just said one thing: "Jack, why do you want to work here?" And the answer he gave me is what gave him the opportunity of a lifetime. He said, "Brad, as you can see, I'm a very humble person. I apologize for showing up dressed this way, but my wife and my daughter have much bigger dreams and aspirations than I do, and I just want to be able to give them everything in life they deserve." And I sat there like, wow, I'd never heard that answer before. And largely understanding that to be massively successful in life, you have to have purpose. I said to myself, that's his purpose. And I said, "Jack, if you can be back here next week on Monday, I'll put you to work and I'll give you the shot of a lifetime." He jumped up, he hugged me. And here's the funny thing. After being in my office and seeing the setting he'd be working in, he showed up dressed exactly the same way. And I'm sitting there looking at this poor guy saying, "Man, Blazar, you really screwed up this time. Like, how in the world is this guy, Jack, going to get on the phone, talk to big time people and raise hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars a year? Like, how? The guy didn't even have a suit and tie." You see, I was prejudging him. And then I just looked at him and I said, "Jack, let's go somewhere." We got in my Porsche. I took him to a department store. And that day I invested in him. Bought him 2 suits, took him to my barber, gave him a Hollywood makeover. And then the next day he came back, man, he had some swag. He was feeling good. I gave him the script. I role played. I trained him up. And I kid you not, in 12 months, he raised $25 million and earned $250,000 in commission. So if I can teach Jack, how to raise $25 million. Oh, train wreck, Jack. I guarantee if you commit, you put forth the effort, and you take action, we can teach you too. Next is you don't need a track record. You don't have to have any experience at all raising money. You don't have to have any experience at all, investing in multifamily in order to be successful. And lastly, you don't need to spend tens of thousands of dollars and invest countless wasted hours to have success when it comes to raising money. So you're probably asking yourself, if you've never heard of me before, like, who is this dude? Like, who is Brad Blazar? So I want to share a couple things about me and my track record. Number one, I was the former CEO and founder of an oil company. I started at 23 years of age. We literally raised millions of dollars from high net worth individuals, family offices, broker dealers. Today, I run what's called Capital School, where we have students literally around the globe in other countries, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, here in the United States, the United Kingdom. Why? Because the language of speaking to investors and how you go about attracting capital is universally the same anywhere you go today. Number two, I'm the host of a highly rated podcast called Beast Nation. It's rated by Yahoo Finance, Yahoo News as the second highest rated show to help you cope with COVID-19. If you're a podcast fan, you like listening to podcasts like Bradley's Dropping Bombs or Joel Brown's Addicted to Success, find us on YouTube, go to my website, become a subscriber. It's a highly rated show, and I guarantee it'll fill your mind with positive thoughts. I'm a 3-time author. My first book, On the Wings of Eagles, quickly became a top-ranked book for young entrepreneurs. #1 read, rated over on a major literary blog. Put some thrive in your hive, unlocking potential in any organization. If you're a manager, a CEO, an entrepreneur, you want to create a culture of success in your business, this is a must read. And then the last book, of course, Winning at the Capital Game Using Other People's Money, unlocks the secrets of how to attract, how to raise, and how to close investor capital. So let's talk about raising money. That's what I'm here to teach you today. I want to go back a couple of years and talk about my journey as a real estate entrepreneur, as a real estate investor, working with other people. This was my very first deal. When I made the decision to get into real estate investing, I decided to focus on a niche. It's called acquiring real estate subject to. You find people that are in pre-foreclosure, you approach them, you convince them to let you take over their monthly payments, bring their mortgage current on terms that you negotiate with the lender. This was my first deal. Small little cracker box of a house, probably 1,300 square feet. The lady had lost her husband. She was behind in her payments. It was ugly, 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 ugly. Instead of the nice gray, it was bright yellow. I mean, it was a train wreck of a home, but I saw an opportunity. So I went in, I negotiated, I took over the payments, went in and rehabbed it. As you can see, repainted it, made it look pretty nice, and then I rented it out. And here was the best part about it. By taking over her monthly payments, I didn't have to qualify for a mortgage. I didn't have to go through that whole process. I didn't have to show any of my financial information. I just basically had her sign over a general warranty deed, and boom, I was off to the races. Here was my next house, much nicer home. This one was about 2,800 square feet, and it sat at the end of a cul-de-sac. There were no neighbors. And so I went in again, negotiated with the owner. He was behind in his mortgage. His wife had lost his job. He was unemployed. He was a truck driver. They moved out, took over, cleaned it up, leased it out, took over the monthly payments. This was another deal I acquired. And so what you're starting to see here is a pattern of success, right? When you find something that you're successful at, the big secret to having massive success is just to push the repeat button and do it again and do it again and then do it again. And I got to a point where I ultimately ended up owning a little over a dozen rental properties. Okay. Most of them were acquired the same way without ever having to qualify for a mortgage, just taking over other people's monthly payments that were in pre-foreclosure. And I was able to rent them out and create positive cash flow in addition to building my own personal wealth. If you add up the value of all of the real estate I had in my portfolio, the total property value would probably be around $3.5 million. This house was worth 180. This other house over here was worth 225. This one might have been worth 130. And so the aggregate, when you added up all of those properties, was well over $3.5 million. Now, here's what I'll tell you. There's mortgages on these properties, many of them. And I was in debt, multi-millions of dollars, because each property had a mortgage and I had to pay that mortgage. But as Robert Kiyosaki and as many of my mentors and my coaches have told me, there's good debt and there's bad debt. Let me say that again. It's a very, very important thing. It needs to sink in. There's good debt and there's bad debt. Owning real estate that's going up in value where other people are paying your mortgage, that's good debt. Now, today, I own interest in self-storage. Okay, I own interest in single family, student housing, and I consult with people all over the world wanting to raise capital and learn how to do it. Okay, I've raised hundreds of millions of dollars for other people, large real estate syndication firms, private equity firms, some of the world's largest financial services companies like US Allianz, ING, Transamerica. And I'm of the belief that anyone can transform their future by understanding a few key principles about using other people's money to build their wealth. Now, you're probably sitting there after listening to all this saying, Brad, man, this sounds good. I want to do it too, but I don't have any money. And here's what I'll tell you. This is what Grant Cardone will tell you. And this is what my good friend Brad Lee will tell you. Don't ever let the fact that you don't personally have money stop you from achieving your goals and your dreams. Because you know where money grows? Money grows in the pockets of other people. Okay? Once you learn a few skills and once you become a little bit more confident in building conversations with affluent people, with accredited investors, you'll find that raising money is actually a lot easier than you think it is. Now, all the money you need literally in life to do anything you want, to build, to buy or scale a business, to invest in multifamily, to invest in real estate, it's available once you learn how to ask for it. And as Sir Francis Bacon said, knowledge is power. The best investment that any of you could ever make is not Bitcoin. It's not the stock market. It's not even real estate, as good as this is. The best investment any of you could ever make is in yourself. Okay, I've invested literally lots of money in coaches, in going to events, because knowledge is power. You see, you don't know what you don't know. And a lot of you here getting the knowledge, learning today from myself, from Jason, from the other speakers that are going to be in front of you during the High Performance Success Summit. So invest in your future, invest and get the knowledge you need. So you're probably asking, well, how do I get the money that I need to build, buy, or scale a business or fund that special project? The answer, high net worth investors. And so raising money is actually easy once you know the process. It's a skill. And what I want to do today is I want to share with you a couple of secrets. I want to walk you through a couple of the processes that I personally use to raise tens of millions of dollars. My goal is that by the end of the call today, you'll have some key ingredients. You'll have a seed of knowledge. You'll have the desire to do this so that you can then go forward and either work with me, work with others, and begin the process of transforming your life as you learn how to raise capital and leverage OPM. That stands for others people's money. So here are 3 secrets to successfully raising investor capital. Okay, we've dispelled some of these, but number 1, again, your age, track record, prior performance don't matter. I swear to God, folks, they don't. Anyone can have success raising capital from investors. All you need is to have a nice little investor package. We're going to talk about that. We show you how to put that together in my mentorship and my training. Okay, all you need to have is a little bit of confidence and show the prospective investor that you can execute on a strategy or you can execute on an investment thesis. That's all you need, because investors don't invest in great ideas. They invest in other people that can execute on those ideas. Number two, you can cultivate a high quality list of high net worth accredited investors that you can actually go out and solicit and begin working for capital. One way that you can do this, as an example, is social media, okay, podcast, or creating a group like a Facebook community, or advertising on Facebook and LinkedIn. Hey, join me on October the 6th because I'm hosting a wonderful event. It's a webinar where I'm bringing in an accountant. We're going to be talking about the tax benefits and how real estate can lower your taxable in your taxes. Now, I guarantee you do something like that, you're going to have people that sign up. You're going to have people that join you on that webinar. And then after that webinar is done, you get on the phone, you call them, you send emails, and you start building that relationship and that trust and convert those attendees to potential capital partners. And the best part about this is the part I love, you can see success in as little as 4 to 5, 6 weeks, rather than months that it sometimes takes other people, and actually begin closing investor capital fairly quickly. So let's get started. The first thing you need to understand about raising money is very few people, other than maybe your immediate family, some very close friends, will invest with you without trust. You need trust. So the question becomes, well, how do I build trust? Like, how do I get someone else to trust me? And there's a wonderful book that's written by a gentleman named Qbi Deduction. You can find it on Amazon. It's called The Trust Economy. And in this book, Qbi talks about basically 6 things, okay, that have to happen sequentially, one after another, in order to build that trust in another person. Now, notice on this chart that the first 3 things are proactive. That means you're taking the effort, the action, okay? These things are you. Then the last 3 are the prospective investor. That's reactive. They're reacting to you, they're absorbing, they're taking in information. So I want to walk through each one of these 6 things today. When you're learning how to raise money, the very first thing is perception. Introduction, same thing, perception, introduction. Now, it's usually a meeting, could be a Zoom, could be a phone call, but perception is so very important, because essentially what that prospective investor is doing is they're sizing you up. Now, the ladies get this a lot better than the men do, because for ladies that go out on dates, the very first thing they're deciding is there ever going to be a second date? They're judging you, right? How you treat them. Do you open the door? Are you dressed well? Are you groomed properly? But perception is so important. What this means is they're checking you out. How do you dress? Are you well groomed? What's the quality of your business card? Is it a little flimsy card, or is it, something substantial on a thicker cardstock that's embossed? They're looking at your presentation. They're checking out your website if you have a web presence. They're checking out everything about you, your LinkedIn profile. Perception is so important. So make sure you step back and you look at the way you present yourself, your business, the opportunity to the world, because that largely is going to speak volumes on whether you're going to get to these next steps. Okay? So after you focus on your perception, you spend a little bit of money in a high quality business card, you dress nicely, you make a nice presentation. The next thing is temptation. This is a very important step in the process, because what you're trying to do in the temptation phase is uncover what will lead this person to ultimately invest. Like, what is the temptation? What are they investing for? And the way you do this is you ask questions. Okay. In our training and mentorship, we have a long list of about 25 questions that you can print off and have right there by you if you're on a phone or a Zoom, so you don't even have to think about it. These are simple questions like, Jason, when you invest, are you looking for income? Are you looking for growth? Or are you looking for both? How important are tax benefits to you, Jason? Real important? Great. When you invest, are you looking to do something special with this money, like put a kid through college or maybe buy a second home? You see, all of these questions will uncover that little nugget that will allow you to close when it's time to do so later in the process. So it's your job. And remember, great salespeople know this. God gave us 2 ears for one purpose, right? It's to listen, not to talk. So ask questions, uncover the temptation. Then you're going to get to the third step. We call that connection. In raising money, a person has to realize the decision to invest with someone or not is largely emotional. It's not an analytical decision. They're not reading every page in the offering circular. They're connecting with you, your confidence. They're building that relationship. And so you want to start taking notice as you're building this trust and you're building that relationship. Like, are they connecting with you? Has that person reached out on Facebook and asked you to be a friend? On LinkedIn, have they requested to connect? If you're posting on Instagram, are they like, giving you a thumbs up or saying, wow, great post today? Once you see that that connection is evolving and it's taking place, you're on the right track. And you can then get to validation, which is where you need to validate trust. You see, the reason that this flow and this cadence is so important is the biggest mistake people make when they try to raise money is they rush the process. There's urgency because they're under contract to buy a deal, or they're so desperate to close and get that money in the door that they start pitching and presenting an opportunity before trust is ever established. I mean, the person that you're talking to is going to be nice. They're going to maybe ask you to send them the information, but when it comes time to really writing a check or to funding you, it ain't going to happen because you've put the project before creating the trust. Does that make sense to everybody? You following me there? So you need to have a way to validate trust. And over 25 years of raising hundreds of millions of dollars, I've created a line in our script that I teach all of my students that allows you to do 2 things. Number one, it allows you to use a little bit of sales psychology. We call it the takeaway. The takeaway is a very powerful emotional tool that the top closers use today. Then we ask a simple question that either opens the door to validating trust or closes the door. And that line is very simple. It's something like this: John, I've really enjoyed getting to know you over the last couple of conversations. And like I've told you before, right now, I just don't have an investment opportunity that I can really talk to you about. And the reason is largely that we like to give our existing investors the right of first refusal on most of our new and ensuing programs. So it's very rare that we ever have an opening for a new person to come on board. But what I'd like to do is simply put your name on a list, get back in touch with you in the event we have an opening or small allocation at some time in the future. Would putting your name on a list today make sense? Is that something that you're comfortable with us doing for you today? And when they say yes, they've confirmed they trust you enough to be added to a list to be called back at a later date. You see that? But I also planted a seed of doubt. They may never hear back from me because I told them I don't have an investment to discuss. And we always like to give our existing investors the right of first refusal. So he doesn't even know if I'm going to call him back at this point. But what that does is it validates trust because he said, yes, put me on your list, please. I'd like to hear back from you. Well, what do you think happens? I'm naturally going to put him in my CRM. I'm going to put him into my funnel. 7 to 10 days later, I'm going to call him back. Hey, John, Brad Blazar here from 5 Star Capital. How you doing? Great. How's the weather out there? Wonderful. And after I spend a couple minutes warming him up, I simply say, the last time I chatted with you, you were kind enough to ask me to put your name on a list. And I'm just going down my list today, John. It just so happens we have a very small allocation in our current offering. And I wanted to reach out to you and see if this is something that you might have an interest in. You have a couple minutes today? And then you pitch. You see, now it's okay to pitch. Now it's okay to present. Now it's okay to talk about the investment. And then at the end of your pitch, after you've answered questions, you're going to close. you're going to ask them to physically invest with you. And the way we do that is we say, John, how many units in our program would you like to take? 1 unit, 2 units, 3 units, or no units? I always give the out. And then I just bite my tongue and I wait. Usually what will happen is he'll come back and say something like, well, tell me again, Brad, how much are 2 units in your program? What does that cost? And then I say, John, simply get the paperwork that we sent you as part of the package. Let's walk through that and I'll tell you how to fill that out. I'd love to welcome you aboard as a new investment partner. Now they're attached. You see, now they've invested. Now they want to see you become successful. Now they're committed. And so you get to attachment, which means they physically have now invested. And then the next step is affiliation. Because these people are now your capital partners and investors, they want to see you become successful. So they start referring you to other investors. We call that an affiliate relationship. Hey, I golf with John, and he's a phenomenal guy. He also makes a lot of money. I talked to him about what you do, and he'd love to have a conversation. Hey, my partner, Steve, needs some tax relief. And I know that this real estate deal that I just invested in gives some benefits. So can you call my business partner? You see, now your capital raising business starts to evolve and take off, and it actually becomes easier because people start referring people to you. That's the importance of slowing down the process, everybody, and building that trust first before you pitch your deal. Now, here's the steps to actually use this and to go out and start raising money. Number one is you've got to define your target list. Like, where am I going to go to find my high net worth people? Okay. And here's what I'll tell you. Number one is you can buy a list of high net worth accredited investors. If you don't know anybody that is accredited or rich, I can point you in the direction and say, call this person, because this is what they do. They sell lists of accredited investors. And you can buy a list of 5,000 affluent households that all live within a demographic region and use that as your target list. The second thing is you've got to warm up this audience through what we call outreach. Okay. Mailings, email, social media, Facebook, webinars. You got to somehow warm them up so that they're receptive to speaking with you. You're positioning yourself as a subject matter expert, as a person of interest. And then you begin the process of sending out your offering materials to those people that have expressed interest in your project, what it is you're doing. And you can see samples of these offering materials down in the bottom corner, the cover of an offering circular, okay, 1-pagers that summarize what the investment is all about. And if you don't know how to do this, it's okay. We teach you how to put these things together. We give you templates on how to put these things together. And then you close. You ask for the investment. They put money with you. And then you just repeat the process. You go on to the next investor. That's how you go from 50,000 to 200,000 to your first million, then to 5 million. And you just keep growing. Maybe you bring on a salesperson to work alongside you and they start doing this as well. Now, you can also host what I call networking events. You can take this list, right? You can hire a company, and there are plenty of companies out there that we can introduce you to that will put together a beautiful invitation. They'll mail it out. They'll handle all the RSVPs. And imagine walking into a room at a place like a country club or a nice hotel or a restaurant where you're hosting what we call a networking event, okay? I don't like to do big dinners, and I'll tell you why. You get a lot of plate lickers. What I like to build these at and basically promote them at is a networking opportunity or a networking event. We might serve some nice hors d'oeuvres, maybe some beer and wine, but we don't do the big expensive dinners. And then what I do is I usually will clang a glass or call everybody's attention to the front so I can introduce myself and my associates. And then we have about a 20-minute keynote, like a presentation where we go through what we do, who we are, and we have materials set up on the side of the room for those people that are interested. The other types of things you can do are what I call lifestyle events. These are really designed to attract a higher net worth prospect. You can do something like a golf outing. You can do an exotic car event. There are plenty of places around the country where you can go and rent get behind the wheel of exotic cars. I guarantee rich people love to do that kind of stuff. Hot air ballooning, yacht excursions. Start thinking outside the box. Get people together that have money, and then follow up and close. The other thing is social media. Now, under the Jobs Act of 2012, the government loosened the restrictions on attracting investor capital. It's now actually easier than ever to attract and raise investor capital. You can use webinars. You can post on social media. Okay, you can literally drop leaflets from airplanes, get billboards, put ads in newspapers. As long as the investors that you're cultivating and having conversations with are accredited, you can do all of these things. You can structure your offering using certain exemptions like Reg A, or what we call the Reg D, 506C. And so you begin the process of using social media as a tool to solicit and drive investor interest. And then when people express interest, you simply follow up. You make sure those prospects are accredited. You close them, and you just repeat the process over and over and over again. Now, you need to understand the framework behind this. And what we've put together is what I call a script or a blueprint. And it largely is designed around 4 calls or 4 meetings or 4 Zooms. The reason is you saw earlier how the trust sequence is designed over basically a cadence or a sequence of 6 things. You can't just rush in and say, hey, how'd you like to invest in this great deal? That ain't going to work. You've got to preface, I don't have anything to sell you today, man. I just want to get to know you. Want to know what you like to invest in. You got to build that trust. You got to build that relationship first. You got to use a little psychology in the process, because it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And the beautiful thing about this script or this blueprint is it can be used regardless of how the investor lead is sourced, whether it's a referral, whether it's a cold call, whether you met them in a networking event. Maybe they were sitting next to you in first class on the airplane. That's why I always fly first class or fly in my private jet. It's because I know the people sitting next to me are going to be very successful in their prospective investors. So let's talk about this script. The first call, the first meeting, the first Zoom is basically to build rapport. It's also designed to disarm, to build trust. Now, a lot of times when you're calling somebody, you're naturally going to get the response, I'm not interested. Like, for example, when I buy a list of high net worth accredited investors and I just start cold calling randomly, just go down the list, and I say, hey, this is Brad Blazar, 5-Star Capital. We're a real estate private equity fund based out of Houston. And I was just calling today to see if you have an interest in passive real estate investments that generate substantial tax benefits. 9 out of 10 times I get, I'm not interested. Now, here's the secret. They are interested, they just don't know it yet. But how many times have all of us been at a store and the clerk comes up to us and they say, hi, good afternoon, can I help you today? What do we say? No, just looking, right? And they leave us for a couple minutes and we look around, and then eventually they come back. Folks, we're in the store for a reason. We're not just looking, we're there to buy something. Otherwise we wouldn't be in the damn store. The people don't know yet that they're interested. And so as a good capital raiser, or as a good salesperson, if you expect this answer in advance, when you get it, if you're prepared to respond accordingly, you can take a, I'm not interested to a conversation that literally will last 20 to 30 minutes. Literally. And here's how you do it. When you get done with your introductory pitch and they say, I'm not interested, you literally, like a door-to-door salesman sticking their foot in the door, you blurt out as quickly as you can. I understand. Let me just ask you one question before I let you go. The fact that you're not interested, is it because you've invested in something like this before and perhaps it didn't work out the way you thought it would? They're going to give you an answer. And then boom, you come right back with another question. I mean, like fast, boom. And they're going to answer that. And then what you just simply say is, look, I'm not calling today to sell you something. As a matter of fact, don't have anything that I can really talk to you about. I just want to know, do you have an interest in reducing your taxes? I mean, that's a legitimate question. Everybody wants to lower their taxes. And then you can start getting into, well, let me tell you a little bit about what we do. You see, and you've disarmed the person, and basically you've now transcended the I'm not interested to somebody that's now opening up. It's like peeling back the layers of the onion or the petals of a flower. Now, does this work all the time? No, but you can probably get 6 to 7 of those I'm not interested to start staying on the phone and at least opening up with you. Now, at the end of the first call, assuming you've had some dialogue, all you want to try to accomplish really is just to send some introductory material out to that prospect. And you just say, Steve, I really have enjoyed getting to know you in the last 20, 30 minutes that we've been chatting. What I'd love to do is just send you some introductory materials to introduce who we are, what we do, and largely just determine if this is something that you might have an interest in at some point in the future. Would that be great? Wonderful. Let me just verify your mailing address or your email address. Always verify, because you want to make sure that the information you have for that prospective person is accurate. You're done. First call, first meeting, first Zoom, whatever. Then you put them into your funnel, your CRM, your tickler, whatever it is that's going to keep track of all of these people. And 7 to 10 days later, you're going to call that prospect back. You're checking in. Did you get what I sent you? You're going to ask more tempting questions to uncover what it is that's going to allow them to invest. You're going to add more value by educating them on what you do, the space you're in. And again, you're going to say, man, I just don't have anything I can sell you or talk to you about from an investment perspective today. I wish I did, but we always like to give our existing investors the fight of first refusal. Can I put you on my list? You see, ask for permission. This is done at the end of the second meeting or the second Zoom, because now you're positioning yourself for the third call, which is where you offer the opportunity. This is where you pitch. This is where you're going to send them your offering materials, because they've given you permission to call them back. And then after you send out your offering package, about a week to 10 days later, you're going to close. You're going to call them back. You're going to go through the material. You're going to explain the deal, answer any questions, and you're going to ask them to invest. If you do this and you study this process, you can have tremendous success, massive success, raising money. And then you just repeat. Now that you understand that this process of raising money is built around 4 calls or 4 meetings or 4 Zooms, whatever you want to call it, do you see how this ties into the trust sequence? Do you see why you got to slow down the process? Do you see why you got to step back a little bit? Because you got to build the trust. And by doing it in 4 calls or 4 meetings or 4 Zooms, you're tying these 2 things together. Now, it took me years to understand why this process worked. But when I read the trust economy and I learned about the trust sequence, a little light bulb went off. Like, this was my aha moment. And I said, man, now I know why this works. Now I know why Jack was able to raise $25 million for me. It's because this process works. It's a proven process that has allowed me and many other people to go out and successfully raise lots and lots of money. Now, we've been here for almost an hour, about 45 minutes. And hopefully, if you've been listening and taking notes, I hope you'd agree that it's been time well spent, because I've uncovered a couple of things that I've shared with you over the last 45 minutes as it relates to attracting, raising, and closing high net worth capital. But I'm just going to be blatantly honest. I can't cover everything that you need to know about raising money in an hour. I really couldn't teach you even if we had an entire day. So I will make a special offer to you for those of you that are here so that you can get everything you need to know in raising capital. I want to give you the tools, and here's the secret. If you act fast, I'm going to give you a very, very special deal. Here's what you're going to get. You're going to get a complete 12-course program that's focused on teaching you how to raise money from high net worth investors using other people's money to build wealth, transform your life, and literally leave a legacy. Now, what's included in this is a live training call every single week. We have a live weekly accountability call with students all around the world. Like I said, we're teaching in multiple countries. And this is where I'm holding your hand. This is where other students are sharing some of their successes. Many times we bring on keynote speakers that are also raising capital so that you can learn from other people. Think of it as your mastermind community. This is every week on Thursday afternoons. Now, it's recorded. So if you're not able to make it for whatever reason, you're going to basically be able to see it on a replay. So you're never going to miss anything. Then we give you the 4-step blueprint. This is the script, almost word for word, so that you literally have a guide, a set of tracks to get on as you're building that call cadence with prospective investors. We want to give you the blueprint. It's an in-depth script to close sales. Then we're going to give you investor package samples, right, to model your kit after. We're going to give you samples of PowerPoints, pitch decks. We're going to give you a template to create your own offering memorandum where you can literally save tens of thousands of dollars because the attorneys that do this charge you much, much more. So I want to give you samples that you can model yours after. I'm also going to teach you about crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is a wonderful way to raise money from investors because they've already got them. We're going to show you how to put your opportunity to put your offering on a crowdfunding platform and leverage those crowdfunding platforms as well. Then we're going to teach you not one, not two, but multiple ways how to attract, how to get in front of high net worth investors. Then you're going to learn about the different types of securities exemptions. What's the difference between a Reg A and a Reg CF? What's the difference between a Reg D to structure your deal properly? And then lastly, for some of you that might already be raising money that just want to get to the next level, we're going to teach you how to get into family offices, how to get the big checks, how to raise more money, because I've done that. I've been there, done it. I want to teach you how to do this too. And then lastly, how to build your business, like how to set it up properly, things that you're going to need to have massive success if you go out and you actually do this. So step back for a second now that you've listened to all this. Okay, the property that's up in the top left, that beautiful property, that's a property actually that we went to see. We have an offer on that. We're trying to work with the seller to work out the details. Imagine being able to finance and actually acquire a property like that with other people's money. Imagine getting access to the millions you need to buy multifamily, maybe to launch your own business, acquire a business, or if you're in business now, just to scale it and grow it. Okay, so here's what you're going to get. Again, live weekly training call with me, my team. That's priceless. I mean, that is literally priceless. Number two, you're going to get the 4-step blueprint. Okay, this is the script. Now, if I were to sell this separately, like strip it off and sell it outside of a bundle package, I charge you close to $1,500 for that. The investor kit, the templates, the PowerPoints, all that, $3,500 value. Crowdfunding lesson, the module on that, $1,297. How to access high net worth investors. What I'm saying here is if we unbundled all of this and sold it to you one at a time, you're getting roughly an $8,876 value in terms of the knowledge, the scripts, the videos, all of that stuff. Now, who does this work for? Well, it's work for Jack. Dude raised $25 million. It's work for real estate entrepreneurs that want to get into multifamily, want to rehab, want to learn how to do this because we also educate a little bit on real estate. It's work for the entrepreneur that wants to capitalize on a new idea or start a business. But I'm going to give you a couple bonuses. Number one, I'm going to give you the guide that you see on the screen, Securing an Investment. This is a $2,000 workbook that literally goes into everything you need to know to securing your first investment. Okay. Then I'm going to teach you how to get into the big leagues, how to put together a fund, how to put together an offering, how to call on family offices. I'm going to give you a database of over 300 family offices that you can call on with the names, the phone numbers, the emails to the decision makers in all these big family offices. Now, you add all that up, you're getting roughly a $13,000 program or package. But because you're here on the High Performance Success Summit, and I worked out a special deal with Jason, we're going to give you a great deal. What's one investor worth? Just one person that invests $100,000. What are two investors worth? Imagine getting two investors every month that write you a check for $50,000 or $100,000. You can get started today for as little as $1,000. Okay, we're going to give you this entire program today for just $1,027, and you get immediate access to my toolkit, which is where all the lessons are hosted, where all the scripts are, all the videos, all the modules. There's the website, www.bradblazar.com, little slash, and then the word enroll. When you enroll, we're going to set you up on a little 3-month subscription. You pay $1,027 today, and then there's just 2 more payments every 30 days. After that, there's no monthly dues, there's no annual fees, and you get lifetime access to the Facebook community that you're going to be a part of, where you get to network with students all over the globe in multiple countries. You're going to get access to the toolkit so that you can start learning how to do all of these things. You're going to get access, of course, to me and all the people that I'm connected with as it relates to the big power players, all the family offices, but it gets even better. The first 5 people that take action today are also going to get a free ticket to Capital Con. This is my big event. We host this every year, okay? You're going to get free VIP premier access to my event. We just launched the ticket platform. This is in April of 2022, and I want to tell you about this. This year, in April, we had our event. Shark Tank's Kevin Harrington was one of our speakers. Imagine learning from Kevin Harrington, of all people, how to pitch your deal, like how to pitch your opportunity. This guy's on Shark Tank. He's heard more pitches than anybody other than the other sharks. He was there. Sharon Lechter, the co-author of one of the most highly coveted books ever written on building wealth, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. She was the co-author with Robert Kiyosaki. She was there. Imagine learning from her, being able to sit down and have lunch with Sharon Lechter. We had Coach Michael Burke, America's super coach, one of the top coaches in the business today. We had people like Dr. Kevin Elko, who is the personal coach to Nick Saban. He coaches NFL and college football teams to Super Bowl championships, 31 championship rings. I just announced Capital Con number 2. In the room, A&E reality TV star Dave Seymour from the hit show Flipping Boston, okay? A reality TV star. He's now doing multifamily in a big way. Sir John Shin with Accienta Financial, multi-millionaire, right under Ed Milet, one of the top players at Transamerica. Coach Burke. We have a Guinness World Record holder, Darin Miller, who is the first person and the youngest person ever to complete the Ocean 7. Those are the 7 longest channel swims around the world. And today he's an ultra marathoner doing 50 and 100-mile runs. I'm going to talk to you about the self-talk, what it takes to be successful. We've just added a couple new speakers. Rock Thomas, for those of you that know who he is. He's a Tony Robbins disciple and a certified Tony Robbins trainer. Marcus Jacober. If you take action today and you sign up, I'm going to give you a free ticket. This is a $1,500 seat right in the front row. I'm giving that away to you today for free, only for the first 5 people. Now, you have 2 choices. Do nothing, right? Do nothing, and your life ain't going to change, okay? By the way, by taking action today, it's back with 100% money back guarantee. The second option is you could pony up a small investment in yourself today, just $1,000, compared to all the value you're going to get. I told you, you're just going to get a free ticket to the event. That's $1,500 right there. So immediately you're getting your investment back. And here's the beautiful thing, folks. If it works, great. You're off to raising huge amounts of money. If you get into this program, in the first 30 days, you decide it's not for you, just ask for your money back and you'll get it, because it's back with the money back guarantee. It's right on the website. Sign up today. For any reason you don't like it, I don't care if it's 29 days, 23 hours, 59 minutes, just let me know and we'll give you 100% refund. No questions asked. 24-hour special. So there's the website again, folks. www.bradblazar.com. Enroll. Get the coaching, get the knowledge, get access to me, get access to my network, get in the front row at Capital Con. Why? Because it can change your life. And more importantly, learning the secrets of how to attract, how to raise, and how to close high net worth investor capital is the key to unlocking the door to generational wealth. Jason, I want to thank you today, buddy, for having me here. It's been great. Do I have a couple more minutes or am I done?
Yes, you're good, Brad. You have more time.
Wonderful. Well,
You're good.
let me just add one thing, folks, that's real important as I kind of close up today. I want to talk a little bit about the importance of what I call purpose in your life. Purpose is so important because most people wake up every day. They go to work, they have a job, they're on what I call that treadmill of life, doing the same thing over and over. Why? Because you need a paycheck, you need to pay your bills, you need to live. But if I were to ask you why you do what you do, like what would your answer be? Many of you would say it's because I need to pay my bills. Okay, that's not purpose. Okay, I know what my purpose is. And here's the important thing. Purpose will help you get back up when you get knocked down. Purpose will allow you to continue to grind and hustle and deal with the frustrations in life. And so I want to share with you a little story in closing here that hopefully allows you to sit back today as you're watching or as you leave later this afternoon and go, wow, I need to find my purpose. I've got a good friend up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. His name is Matt. And Matt runs 3 very successful businesses that do about $100 million a year in revenue. And he was on stage about 1.5 years ago, and he was sharing this very powerful story. He said about 2 years ago, it was right before the holidays, and my sister-in-law came over to our home with her husband and their 3 kids. And so the kids went out and they were playing in the pool because it's heated. The ladies went into the kitchen and they started preparing for the holiday meal, making the turkey, making the pumpkin pies. And the guys, of course, we went upstairs into the theater where we were watching our teams, the Dallas Cowboys, beat up on one of our competitors. And it was right in the middle of the 3rd quarter, Matt said, that my brother-in-law started daydreaming. He just started slowly leading off into the couch. His head would go back. You'd see him snore for a minute or two, and then he'd kind of come back up and he'd watch a few more minutes. And then, of course, he, just because he was tired, leaned back into the couch, his head leaned back. And then he would come back and watch the game. We've all done that before, I'm sure. We're all guilty of that. But then finally, when his head went back, he just went to sleep. And I was over here, Matt said, watching the game, cheering him on. And my brother-in-law was just snoozing away. And I just let him sleep, snoring away. But then all of a sudden, when we got into the 4th quarter, he jumped out of the couch like he had seen a ghost, grabbed my arm, and I jumped, and I was startled. And I looked and I said, "Are you okay?" And there was a little bit of sweat coming off his brow. He said, "Yeah." He said, "I think so." He said, "I think I just might have had a bad dream or something, Matt, just startled." And so Matt said, "Well, it's okay. You're fine. We're watching the game." And his brother-in-law looked at him, he said, with a stare that Matt said, "I'll never forget." He looked at me and he said, "Matt, can I share something with you?" And Matt said, "Sure. I mean, your family, you're my brother-in-law." And he said, "Matt, I've got cancer and it's pretty bad." And Matt's like, "Well, like how bad? Like prostate cancer?" "No, it's worse, Matt. It's lung cancer. And the doctors have given me about 6 months." And Matt just like, "Oh man, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm really saddened to hear that. Like, what does Susie say?" Now, Susie was his wife. That was Matt's sister-in-law. And Matt's brother-in-law looked at him and said, "She doesn't even know." And Matt just sat there like, this is your wife. This is the partner in life. Your wife doesn't know that you've got terminal cancer? He said, "No, Matt, I can't bear myself to tell her. And the reason is we don't have any insurance." And Matt just said, "Wow." He said, "I think it's time to go downstairs and have a little family meeting." And so he literally forced his brother-in-law to come downstairs and share this news with his wife. And you can imagine, for the first time, he's sharing this news with his partner, his wife, hugging, kissing, crying, a lot of emotion in the room. And the sad thing, folks, is it wasn't 6 months. It was only 3. And there was a funeral and they buried him. They said their goodbyes. Now, a couple days later, when Matt's wife, Cookie, came downstairs, she was very emotional. And Matt immediately took notice, like, why are you crying, man? Like, what are you so emotional for? And she said, Matt, man, I've just been thinking about my sister. You know, like, you heard what he said 3 months ago, Matt. They don't have any insurance. Like, what's her future going to look like? Like, is she going to have to sell the house? You know, they've got 3 kids. They're not privileged people like you and me, Matt. They don't have insurance. She's going to have to either go on welfare, get another job. I mean, like, you know, I just don't know. And Matt just smiled and said, sometimes God has a way of working miracles. And he just kind of walked out of the room. 3 days later, Matt was on the phone to the sister-in-law, and he was inviting her over to enjoy the weekend. He said, come on over. We'd love to have the kids over. We'd love to have you over for dinner. I know it's been a real tough time. So they came over. They had a wonderful evening, watched a movie on Netflix. And at the end of the evening, as they were saying goodbyes and they were hugging, Matt opened his jacket. He reached in and he handed her an envelope. He said, this is for you. And she opened the envelope and she said, I can't take this. He said, you can and you will. Inside that envelope, folks, there was a check for $2 million, had a couple of zeros attached. It was enough money to take care of a family of 4 for the rest of their life. I want to ask you, how many of you that are listening to this story want to be the rich Uncle Matt? Or you want to be the rich aunt, or the rich brother, or the rich sister, to be the shoulder that other people can lean on in their time of need? See, that's purpose at the highest level. When you can step in and solve problems for other people at that magnitude, that's purpose. I want to be that same person for my siblings, for my mom, for my aunts and uncles, for anybody in my family or that I know in my sphere of influence that I know needs help, to be able to say, hey, here's a check. Don't ever worry about paying it back. This is from me to you because I know it's going to help. And that's why also in everything I do, my coaching, my book sales, I donate a percentage to MD Anderson to help fight cancer, because I lost my dad to that, and it's a big illness and I want to help. You see, that's what drives me, folks. When people ask, Brad, why do you do like what you do? You don't need to be doing this. I mean, you've got 7-figure net worth. I always tell them it's because I have a purpose in life, and my purpose in life is to help pull you up by your bootstraps, show you can do bigger things, and help transform your future. So everybody, find your purpose. It's in you. You just need to figure out what it is. And I'll be talking more about that in day 2 on tomorrow's High Performance Success Summit. Jason, that's all I have, big guy.
Well, thank you so much, Brad. I really appreciate that. Awesome job for Brad Blazar. You definitely want to sign up for Brad's program. And so thank you again. God bless. And great job, Brad. Next speaker is me, Jason Burke, CEO, High Performance Success Summit and event coach. I'm going to share my screen with everyone right here. So give me a moment while I do that, and we should be good to go here. Okay, so what I'm going to be talking about today is event mastery success. I'm going to be talking specifically about how to keep your events on budget and even how to select your speakers. So to give you a little background about me, I produced over 200 live and virtual events and seminars since 2010. Published Amazon offer of a book, Become Big Star in Event Planning. I've worked with some of the top business and real estate influencers in the country, including Raising Capital Brad Blazar, who just spoke, Maverick Millionaire Paul Fink, the CEO of Realty Forum Magazine, Linda Blogger. So let me tell you how I met Linda. Back in 2012, I had a friend, Keller Hatch, that said I need to meet Linda. I was running the Las Vegas Real Estate Insights Club. And so me and my friend Mark called from the Outback, went to San Diego because he wanted to see the CrossFit Games, so we went there. Mark dropped me off for Linda's one-day event in LA. So I went to the one-day event. I met Linda. I attended an event. I got a feel from her event. And what developed from there is we ended up doing 6 real estate expos in the Las Vegas, Nevada market. We continue to support each other and do events to this day. Now, one of the things we wanted, also, I met the CEO of Policy International, Bill Walsh, back in 2014, and Michael Lafferty's at Connell Summit. This is an investment conference in Las Vegas, Nevada. Bill was the last speaker, and I was one of the real estate groups, and he was talking about opening up these entrepreneur clubs and I offered to run the Entrepreneur Club in Las Vegas. And for 4 years, I ran Power Team events in the Las Vegas, Nevada market. I helped with the major corporate events before I launched in the High Performance System in 2018. Now, what we're going to cover today is how to keep your events on budget, and we're going to even go over speaker selection strategies and how to book big thought leaders for your events. I'm going to talk about first the venue sponsor strategy. Now, this is a great strategy. The venue sponsor strategy is where companies will provide the venue for your event. They'll either give it to you for free or low cost, as well as the AV. But the key with the venue sponsor strategy is you want to make sure you clearly communicate the value given the companies that are receiving, that are sponsoring. Are they getting to speak at the event? Are they getting more clients or more contacts? Are they getting more exposure? Whatever that is, you want to clearly communicate to that and deliver on that value, because you do that, they'll keep sponsoring your events again and again. And this will save you thousands of dollars, because I've done this in the Las Vegas market where I've saved thousands of dollars by doing this strategy, where companies will give you their training room for free or low cost, and they'll even give you the AV for free or low cost, just because you're driving traffic into their business and utilizing a training room that otherwise would stay empty or is not in use, and that's generating them business, so generating them new leads, generating them people to talk to. This is a great strategy to use, especially at the beginning when you're first starting out. Now, another strategy is how to reduce your costs when it comes to hotel meeting rooms. So here's some tips when it comes to that. One, you want to keep the idea with the meeting room specifically, get 5 or 6 quotes. You get 5 or 6 quotes from hotels, and then go back to the hotels that you want to host the event at and tell them about the competitor's lower price and see if they'll match it. If they won't match it, see if they'll throw in some extra benefits, like some free foods, maybe some free sleeping rooms to some of your guest speakers, and see if they'll do that, because what that will do is that'll save you money. The more quotes and the more competition you foster, the lower the price is going to be for your event, which is great for you as the event organizer. Another thing to be aware of is you don't want to do the hotel meeting block, sleeping room block, because hotels will try to push, oh, book so many sleeping rooms. But the thing is, if you do the block and you don't sell out, you, the event organizer, is left with the bill. And I know, because we did our first high performance system live in 2018, I was left with a bill for over just under $10,000 for sleeping rooms that we didn't use. So I've learned this from experience. One of the things you want to do instead is negotiate a percentage discount, like 10%, 20%, that your guests or attendees that attending your events can go book through the hotel and get that code. But let the hotel continue in selling the sleeper rooms to other guests. Therefore, you're not on the hook for the bill if not enough of your guests buy sleeper rooms through the hotel. Because keep in mind, this sites like Travelocity, Expedia, all those sites where they get better pricing because the hotels will sell the rooms to cheaper because they're buying at a bulk rate, which is a lot cheaper and less expensive. So a lot of cases, people will get the deals with travel and flights, and they'll get a better deal than they can just booking through the hotel website. So you want to be aware of that. Now, another way to save money and keep on budget with the event is sometimes what the hotels would do is they'll give you the meeting space for free if you buy enough food. So you want to ask the hotels, how much is it going to cost? How much food do I have to buy to get the meeting space for free? And then you want to compare what it would cost just to purchase the meeting space without the food. Sometimes it's cheaper to buy the food than pay for the meeting space, because the hotel is driving business to the catering department by you buying the food. And you can always turn around and get sponsors for the food as well, which is another great thing. So that's another strategy. Now, when it comes to AV costs for events, one of the things you want to be aware of is if you're doing local events, it's great to own your own equipment, like a projector screen, flip chart. These are some of the basic items that you want to own for your own equipment when you're doing events locally. Now, if you're doing events in other cities, you want to call the hotels and find out how much it's going to cost to use their AV. And then you want to compare that to how much it's going to cost to transport your own equipment and see which is cheaper or better for your situation. Be aware, some hotels are union hotels, which means you're not going to be able to bring in your own AV equipment. which means you're going to have to pay for their AV equipment and pay for the AV person unless you negotiate something different with that hotel. So I like to use non-union hotels because they allow you to bring in your own AV equipment and you don't necessarily have to use the AV person. But you need to be aware of that. You need to know which hotels are union and non-union, especially when you're booking meeting space with them for your conferences. Now, what I'm going to go to next is questions to ask when it comes to speakers. Determining what speakers are a good fit for the event. And this is it. One of the first things I ask speakers is what is the topic that they have for the ideal audience? Because based on what the ideal audience is and based on that topic, you will know quickly if they're a good fit for your event or not. And if the topic isn't a good fit or it doesn't resonate with your audience, you don't want to book them. Another thing is if it's not just a content talk, if they're selling from stage, you want to find out the price of the coaching program. And there are a lot of reasons you want to find that out because your audience, you know what your audience usually pays for coaching, would it be through you or would it be through outside speakers that you brought in? So if you bring in a speaker that's selling a $50,000 coaching program, and your audience is all used to paying $1,000 to $3,000 from coaching, they may not have a great experience. Where if your audience is used to paying $30,000 or more, and you bring in a coach that's offering $500,000, they may not buy it, convert it, or don't perceive the value as high because they're used to paying a higher amount. So you want to be aware of what the program, the cost of the program the speaker's offering, because that can impact if you book them as well. If those two things work, what you want to do is you have to negotiate the revenue share on the back end on sales from the speaker. And keep in mind, some speakers can't pay out for 30 to 45 days because of refund and money back guarantees, and you need to be aware of that. Some organizations will pay out within 1 to 2 weeks. Every organization's refund policy is different, so you got to be aware of that. If you, the event organizer, are collecting the money, you got to tell the speakers when you're going to pay them out. And you have to have those agreements in writing, what the revenue share is, when the payments are, how they're going to pay you. All that has to be done and in writing. Now, when it comes to booking big thought leaders, now, when I say big thought leaders, is people that have influence or tribes that can ideal fit for your audience. Now, if they have influence in tribe, but it's not your ideal audience for your event, don't book them. If they have the ideal audience for your event, what you wanted, that you ideally like them to speak for free or do a rev share on sales. But a lot of big thought leaders require a speaking fee or travel expenses. And here's some criteria to make that decision if it's a good investment or not. 1, how many ticket sales am I going to sell because I have this person speaking at my event? 2, how many sponsors am I going to attract because I have this person speaking at my event? 3, what are the projected back-end revenue sales on coaching programs or products or services that we're going to make by this person speaking? 4, can I do additional events with this person, big events? Because if it's a one-off event, you got to make the decision straightly on the numbers. And the numbers, if the numbers are higher than the expenses, and do the deal. But if it's a relationship play and say you're paying a speaker and you're losing a little bit of money on that, but you have other ways to make up the revenue, then you do that because you're building that relationship with that speaker over time. You will make up that revenue. You just have to budget to make sure you can make up the revenue that from that speaker. And that's really tips when it comes to booking big thought leaders, big influences for your events. Now, there are ways to help fill your events. One of those ways is speak and sponsor, which is a great way to do that. My tips on speak and sponsor is very simply, you want to, if you look at networking groups like BNI, Letip, all of them, you want to check a few, go to a couple of the meetings, see what they get for attendance. Then you want to negotiate where you can speak for 2 to 5 minutes in front of the group. When you're sponsoring, you have a table. I suggest doing a raffle, like giving away Amazon gift cards, something that people put their contact information in there. And that is a great way to build your audience, speak and sponsoring. Also, there's conferences, there's workshops and seminars, whether it be live or virtual, where you're going to get to speak for 30 and 90 minutes, where you can speak and sponsor and get the database from that event. And that will also help you build your list, build your email list, which is one of the most important things. The email marketing is one of the ways you can promote your events. And when you're building your own database, your email list is important because that's your own list. It's not controlled by a third party. and you can market to that list and segment that list based on the interest of the different customers that sign up for your list. And you want to be aware of that. Another way to do that is LinkedIn events. LinkedIn events is a good way to market, but there is some things you need to be aware of. LinkedIn events, a lot of people treat it as a LinkedIn invitation. So when they accept your LinkedIn event invitation, you want to say something like, thank you so much for accepting a LinkedIn invitation. Click the link below, reserve your seat today. So they know they still have to take an action step to be part of your conference. Eventbrite. Eventbrite is another great way to market your events. Eventbrite allows you to create a page. It's free, especially when you're first starting out. You can have a great subject line. You can have a great description. You want to put in what's in it for them. Who are you? Why they should care? Why they should attend the event you're creating. And you also can insert photos and videos into the subject lines as well. And that's very important because you can insert photos where they make the most sense, and videos. Naturally, you have your cover photo that you're going to put in. You can also set up an online virtual event as well. So you can put a Zoom link in and everything along that lines. One of the things that's important with Eventbrite is when you go to order options, you click on, you want to go to order forms, you want to select the send to buyers only. And because buyers only will allow you to customize the setting to have people put their cell phone in, click the cell phone. So you get the name, email, cell phone. So you can reach people through email, phone call, text message to remind people about the upcoming event. And that's very important because the default setting on Eventbrite is name and email. So you need to be aware of that. Facebook is another great way to promote events. Facebook, you can build a Facebook community. And I would recommend designing a couple of Facebook groups, one for the public use that you post on that the public can engage in, and one private Facebook group for your coaching clients, which is very important because that will be only if you have paid coaching clients who have access to that community. Now, strategies in building your event through Meetup. Meetup is a great way to do this because once you've created a Meetup group, and your Meetup do plans anywhere from 12 to 35 a month. And once you've done that, you can Meetup puts it in the city that you create a Meetup 3 days later, and they start pushing your Meetup out to the Meetup community, which is great, and will get you people to sign up. You could also invite people through email, social media about your Meetup group. One of the things I would say Meetup is make sure you have a link to have people opt into your list, because you just don't want the list being totally on Meetup. That's one of the things. But you could do broadcast out to your Meetup group. Meetup has a way you can contact your members. You can segment the list. You can do a broadcast out the entire list. You can put a subject line, message. You can insert photos. You also have the message board feature you can use on Meetup, which is some great things as well. So Meetup is a great tool. Instagram is another great tool as well. Photos and videos for Instagram, and consistency is really what matters. So those are just some tips on how you can fill your events and promote your events, where you're doing a networking event, seminar event, and anything along that line. And so one of the things I want to talk to you about also now is we have what I call Event Mastery Coaching Program. We have bi-weekly calls. We have email text support. We have industry standard techniques. And one of the things I want to go over is we have two programs. We have Event Mastery Success Lite and Event Mastery Success Premier Coaching Program. Event Mastery Success Lite, you get access to Event Mastery Success video library videos from me on different topics related to put on your events, whether be filling your events, speaker selection, how to set up the venues, how to do live events. That'll be all in our video vault. You also get access to workbooks, speaker selection workbooks, how to keep events on budget workbook, how to fill your events. So you get multiple things on that, and you get a copy of my book, Become Big Star in Event Planning. Also, you get 12 bi-weekly 45-minute strategy calls with me, Jason Burke, CEO, on the event like. So that the Event Mastery Success Life program is $997. Now, Event Mastery Success Premier Coaching Program is 12 sessions, 12 individual calls with me, Jason Burke, 45-minute bi-weekly strategy sessions. And with the founder, me, you get text and email support in between each call. You get access to a private Facebook community, early access and tickets for Event Mastery Success at High Performance Summit events, access to Event Mastery Success Fall and everything in the Event Mastery Success Lite. Premier package of $1,997. We also do 2 and 3 payments for coaching as well. And so what I'd like you to do is take action today. You can join our Event Mastery Success Coaching Program by going to www.hbssuccess.com/event coaching. You can sign up. You can sign up for a consultation. You can sign up for the coaching program. They'll be right on the website as well. My name is Jason Burke, CEO of High Performance System and Event Expert. Just going to stop sharing my screen for a minute. Darin Adams from Keap. He's an international marketing expert. He's going to talk about how to get organized, get customers, get paid. So I want to welcome Darin Adams to the High Performance Assessment.
Thanks, Jason. Glad to be here. It's like a Saturday party, isn't it? You know, everybody's spending their Saturday doing things to grow their business and be more successful. And I want to help you do some of that same stuff. Let me click on this to share my screen so I can click that. And let me undo that because I got to scroll back to the very beginning. I was like in here tweaking and getting some stuff done. And now let me push it. There we go. Basically, I want to show everybody today how to do things. It all really comes down, as successful as you want to be, you got to be organized. You got to have everything in the right place. You got to have the right tools. You got to have the right platforms. And then you got to be able to, that leads you to getting customers, and that leads you to getting paid. So regardless of what you're doing, if you're doing real estate investing, if you're an entrepreneur, if you got some side gig going, like you got a regular job and you're doing something on the side, all of those principles are the same, whether you're looking for investors or partners or customers or leads or prospects. You want to get organized so you can get those customers, so you can get paid. I'm going to walk you through some tools today that are all inside of a suite of tools at Keap. Keap is a software system. And basically what Keap did was they said, what are the best tools that the average entrepreneur is going to need to be successful? Let's get those, let's put them together, let's optimize them, let's just make an all-in-one solution for people, regardless of what they're doing. This is the tool that's going to fit. So that's what Keap is. I'm going to walk you through. I'm going to show you what those tools are. And then from that, I'm going to show you how those tools will help you so you can make more money and be more successful. Let me tell you a quick little story first. This is Chevelle, a friend of mine. I was at an event with Chevelle speaking. It was a virtual event, and Chevelle was speaking first. Chevelle is a legal pro. She coaches businesses on how to legal proof their business so that they avoid legal landmines. So she gets on stage, this virtual stage, and she said, hey, I'd love to be able to connect to you. I'd love to be able to show you what I can do to help your businesses. I'm listening to Chevelle. She's doing a great job. And she said, if you would like to connect with me, if you'd like to, I've got a guide for you. I've got a legal guide, show you how to avoid legal landmines. You can go here to get that. So I went there. I was filling my little form. I get the confirmation right after that. Hey, your guide's on its way. Scroll down a little farther and it says, hey, you can book my legal landmine assessment session right here. So I click that, takes me to a calendar. This is efficient and speedy. I'm clicking the calendar. She says, let me ask you a couple of questions first, so I know a little bit about your business. I'll be better prepared for when we talk. So I answer some of the questions on there. Right after that, I get the first email. Welcome, she said. Here's the guide. I promise you, you can download the guide. I download the guide. There's some great information there, a little checklist. I fill out some stuff. Right after that, I get a second email from her. It says, we're glad to have you part of the family. Here's how you can join us on social media and these different platforms. I scroll down a little farther. There's a place to click schedule a free session with her again. So I'm thinking, wow, Chevelle is insane. She is working like crazy today. She sent out all of these checklists. She sent out all the calendar links. She sent out all the confirmations. She sent out all the first emails and the second emails and the questionnaires, all that stuff. She sent out hundreds of emails saying, but I want to talk to her about some of this. And so I emailed her. I said, Chevelle, can I talk to you sometime? Do you have some time? I can find out some of the stuff you're doing. And she said, yeah, you better call quickly though, because I'm getting ready to fall asleep. I said, I imagine you're probably exhausted from working all day. I don't want to keep you up. What time zone are you in? She said, I'm actually in Bali. I said, oh, I really apologize. Here in my mind, I'm thinking she's running her business on the other side of the globe, and she's been up all day, all night, doing all this kind of work. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry. I can talk to you later when you wake up or something. She says, no, I'm not going to bed. I'm here on vacation, and I've rented a little massage hut, and I'm getting a little massage here, and I've got someone coming to give me a little my massage. I've got my fancy little drink, and then I'll probably take a little nap after that. That's what I meant when I said I'm going to fall asleep. And then I got a private little hot tub here, and I'm going to hop in that, and I'll probably take a little nap while I'm there. That's what I meant when I said I'm going to fall asleep. I'm not going to bed. I said, wait, Chevelle, how could you be doing this? You send out hundreds of emails, hundreds of confirmations, hundreds of calendar links, all this stuff. You've been working all day long doing all this stuff. And she said, no, that was all done before I ever got here. She said, I'm here on vacation. And everything that you experienced was set up before I ever got on the plane. That was all done through automation. I haven't done a single thing. I spoke on the virtual event, and everything else has happened since then without me doing a thing. And while I was talking to her on the phone, I got another email from her. Clearly, she didn't send that because she was talking to me on the phone. That just is the beauty of what can happen with automation. Everything that she did, all of those things were done without her doing any work. And I hear stories about this all the time. I would love to be able to show you how you can do the same thing, how you literally can go on vacation and come back and find more contacts, more customers, more money in your bank, more business. And it's not a pipe dream. This is not some imaginary thing I'm talking about. This happens all the time. And it happens when you can run your business on automation, when you can have some of these things set up, just like Chevelle does, so that you can do amazing things, help you get organized, help you get customers, help you get paid, and have more time and have more money, because it's all happening through automation. I'm going to walk you through the top 10 ways to win more business. These are all 10 things that will help you grow your business. I've learned these from speaking to entrepreneurs around the world. I've spoken on most of the countries, most of the continents there are, and I've talked to entrepreneurs and said, what are the challenges that you have? And so based on that, how can we overcome those so that we can help you be more successful? So from learning these top 10 challenges, I've learned the top 10 ways to win more business. And these are all, by the way, things that you can do through automation. Here we go. Here's number one. Every business in the entire world struggles to get new leads. Every business, constantly. There's no end here. It doesn't matter if you're IBM, if you're Apple. Everyone has got to get new leads. It's like having this long tube and you're sticking balls in it. And the more balls you stick in, the more balls come out. These are the new leads. This is the new business. The more you put in, the more comes out. You stop putting things in, new business stops coming out the other end. It's a never-ending challenge. It doesn't end. You don't ever say, okay, I'm done now. I've got all the leads I need. No, every business is struggling with that every single day. And lesson number one that you've got to remember is that leads have a half-life of 3 days. When I meet you today, maybe you're a real estate investor and you say, hey, I'd love to be able to partner with you. I say, hey, great. I'm always looking for stuff. Let's stay in touch. 3 days from now, I've forgotten half of what I knew about you. You've forgotten half of what you knew about me. And maybe even more in some cases. You got 3 days to capture that lead. That lead is basically like a salad. Every time you meet someone, you need to think of that person as a salad. They're fresh and crisp and delicious and wonderful right now. But if I were to box that salad up and say, you can have this in 3 days, then all of a sudden it's not quite as fresh and crisp as good as it was 3 days earlier. A salad is like any lead you get. And so the number one thing you got to do is you got to have some kind of automated lead capture, a way for you automatically capture people that you meet and get them into your list, into your database, into your realm of influence, into your circle. You've got to be able to capture people instantly and automatically. Let me tell you about a friend. This is Danella. Danella speaks on stage. She coaches people how to do better at live events. And so when Danella gets on stage, she says, I've got a great resource for you. I'd love to be able to share this with you. If you'd like this, just go to my page. You can sign up here and I will send you my free guide. So I go there, I fill it out. Instantly, I get the confirmation. Thanks for the connection. By the way, there's a little blue button so you can schedule a call with Danella right then. I then get the email. Hey, here's the checklist I promised to get to you. You can also schedule a call if you'd like to. I get the checklist, how to crush it from stage. And then I can also schedule time on the calendar. I reached out to Danella she just started this like about a year or so ago. And after about 6 months, I reached out. I said, how's that going for you? How are things happening? And she said, I didn't have any automated lead capture before this. And then I realized I needed something. And so just in the last 6 months alone, she said, she got 1,000 leads through that page. I want you to imagine 6 months from now, you have 1,000 extra contacts in your database. From those 1,000 leads, 300 booked conversations with her from her calendar, 100 bought her membership program, and she was able to do multiple six figures in just that 6-month period, just from those leads. Just because she tweaked things one little bit. She finally got an automated lead capture. She finally had a way to say, hey, come join my community, come be part of what I can share with you. And she finally had a way to do that automatically. And she got 1,000 leads and multiple six figures. And do you know how much time she had to spend? Because she's got these thousands of leads. Do you know how much time she had to spend typing in all the information? None. She didn't spend any time. That was all done through automation. She just said, go to this page. They went to the page, they signed up, and all of a sudden she's got multiple six figures in her account. That is not some pipe dream. That is not some imagination thing. This literally happened for her in 6 months because she had automated lead capture. This is the other thing. As we're now starting to come back and do more live events, and you're starting to meet people more and more, this happens. You get business card overload. I know, because this is the top of my desk with my business cards. You reach out to someone says, hey, here's my business card. They give you the business card. And you say, great. And you stick it in your pocket. 3 days later, you pull it out, like, who is this person? I don't remember. But I'll put it to the side because I'm sure I'll remember later. You don't remember later. You don't remember a month later. And pretty soon you got this stack of business cards you don't know what to do with. So if you have ever collected a business card from someone and not followed up with them, and I know you have because we all do it, you're going to love this. This is something in Keap. You open up the Keap app, and this is on your phone. You can import people from your phone. I got 100 people on my phone, so I highlight the ones, dump them in. At the bottom button, you can manually enter someone. So you can say, hey, can you give me your contact information? They enter it in. They're entering it in your database. But the middle button is the cool one. The middle one is you can take a picture of a business card. So you literally hold up a business card, hold up your phone, and take a picture of the business card. Can you push a button on your phone? As soon as you do that, Keap automatically reads all the information, the name, the email, the phone number, the address, everything you need to have on there, and creates the contact record. Even asks you, what is this person? Are they a lead or a client? So we can organize this person, have them tagged and categorized right off the bat. And instantly, that was a bad snap. There was a better one. And that amount of time, maybe it matches all those snaps together, the contact record is created. This is viewing it on my phone. This was Bobby Joe Thuitt. She was the person I just took the business card, the picture of her card. And that's me viewing on my phone. If I want to look at someone on my laptop, pull up Jack Smithson. Let me see Jack Smithson on my laptop. I can see more information. There's a contact record. But that is all done because it's automated lead capture. Imagine if you could automatically do that. How many more people are you going to have in your database? How many more people are you going to have that you can do business with? How much time did it take to create the contact record for Bobby Joe? It took this much time. Push a button, take a picture. How much time did it take for Danella? Like 0, even less time than push a button. But that's the number one thing, is automated lead capture. That's going to help you grow your business. Here's number 2 on the list. The problem is your free time should be called burning money time. Now, I want you to have free time. Free time is good. Free time is healthy. I want every single one of you to have free time. But there's a bad kind of free time, and that's the unplanned free time. So like maybe you're thinking like Monday, I'm going to be working from 9 to 5. And from 9 to 5, I'm going to have income producing activities. I'm going to have generating revenue from 9 until 5. And all of a sudden from 1 until 3, there's nothing on your calendar. There's like a blank spot. There's free time there. And all of a sudden, instead of that being making money time, that becomes burning money time, because you're not making any money. That's time that's could have been making money, but you're not. So lesson number 2 that you got to remember is the faster you schedule something, the sooner something happens. It is simply a matter of getting things on your schedule. The more full your schedule is, the more money you're going to make. So you got to have, here's number 2 on our top 10 list. You got to have a scheduling calendar tool. Maybe you have Calendly or Visita or Time Trade or Schedule Once or something like that. They're all great tools, and Keap integrates with all of those. If you use one of those, that's great. That can work with what you've got in Keap. There is a calendar schedule tool inside of Keap. So if you do not want to pay for that third-party calendar, you don't need to. You can save that money, and you can just use the calendar inside of Keap. It's very similar like the Calendly calendar. It's simple. If you know calendars, you start with a blank calendar. It syncs up with Google or Outlook. So if I had a Google Calendar, I push the button, and now those Google Calendar events will auto-populate on my calendar. Bottom left corner, free 30-minute marketing link. You have you can create as many of these links as you want. You want to create a 15-minute introductory call, a 30-minute scoping call, an hour coaching call, a half day talk about possible properties to invest in, whatever it might be. You just push that button. You pull up Dave and in your list, in your contact list, push the button for the calendar link, half hour to talk about deals you might want to do, sends them the link. They then get your calendar. They know when they're free. They know when you're free. They can see that. They pick a time. They click on it. If they're not already in your database, maybe they found your calendar some other way. This asks them for your contact information. So this is another automated lead capture form. Then confirms it. Hey, you got your appointment confirmed. Reminds them you got an appointment coming up tomorrow. You got an appointment coming up in an hour. It gets them on your calendar and make sure that they show up at that appointment. And then you take the calendar, the embed code, and you embed that calendar link wherever you want, on your website, in social media, in emails. The more places you put that calendar, the more places you can send it out, the more people have access to your calendar. The more people have access to your calendar, the more people are doing business with you, the more money you are making. See that? With the calendar. Just starts with the calendar. Here's number 3. If you're running a sloppy business, you're not profitable. And you might be saying, well, no, I'm profitable and I make money and I'm not super organized. But the more organized you can be, the more profitable you can be. I mean, there's a correlation there. If you can tighten things up a little bit, you can make a little bit more money. Lesson number 3 is you need a CRM, a client relationship management tool. A CRM is the brain of your business. It is where everything operates from. It's all going to come back to the CRM. Some of you might say, I have a free product from Zoho or something, or I've got some spreadsheets, or I've got just something I put together. This is the brain of your business. Don't trust it to some free product. Don't trust it to trying to put together legal pads and spreadsheets. You need a real CRM, a real brain to run a real business. This is what a real CRM should look like. Over here, you can see everything's categorized. Here are my leads and my clients. If I get a new lead, I can push that. Hey, show me who my leads are. It will show you, and then I can add somebody, type it manually in. And then the last question is, are they a lead or are they invoiced, whatever that might be. This is the contact record. Everybody that you know, everybody that is in your list should have a contact record. Everybody who might do business with you or has done business with you, everybody needs their own individual contact record with all that information there. I mean, if you're using MailChimp and you've got a list here, that's not a CRM. That's just an email list. That's like a glorified Rolodex. This is a CRM. This is with the information that you need. So underneath Jack Smithson, this is Jack's name here. So it's Jack's contact record. Underneath Jack's name, you can see some different icons there. The first one is activity. That'll show you calls you've made, emails you've made, notes you've made. So if I have to get on a call with Jack, I can pull this up. I can see, oh, last time we talked, Jack said he was looking at properties in this range or in this area or whatever, and he was ready to buy or take some action in 2 weeks. So instantly I'm up to speed on what I need to know about Jack. The next button over from activity is details. These are name, email, phone number, all the information you need to know about every person. There are 100 fields that are there for you to fill out. Get as much information as you can, birthday, anniversary. The more information you have, the more you know how you can do business with that person. The next button over is email. So now I can track my emails. Maybe I was in Keap and I sent a quick little email to Jack. That'll be there. Maybe something was triggered and Jack got an automation. We'll talk about those. A sequence, a campaign that sent a series of emails. Track that in there. Maybe I was on my phone, in my car, driving around. I sent Jack something from a Gmail account. Or remember, it syncs up with Google. So that email will be there. This is a chance for you to track all of your emails. It's a history of your emails, really a history of your relationship, so that you know how you can serve Jack or whoever it is you're looking at. And if you can track that, then you know how you can continue to serve him and continue to make money in your business. Lesson number 4 on our top 10 list. It's good to know your people, but it's better to know what they want. This comes down to your database. So we've got this list of people of, I don't know how many people you have, 100 people, 500 people, 1,000 people. It doesn't really matter the number. We'll say 100. So you got 100 people in your database. And you're like, that's great. Okay, you got 100 people. But you know what? Those 100 people are not all the same. They don't all want the same thing. They're not all interested in the same thing. They're not all identical. They're very different from each other. So it's good you got them, but you got to be able to know what they want, what their needs are, what are their concerns, how do they want you to talk to them, who are your repeat customers? Maybe someone's done business with you before, somebody is just meeting you for the first time. Those are very different groups. So you need to have very different messages for them. What about people who might be able to do some marketing for you? They're affiliates, they could sell your products or services, and other people who might know about speaking opportunities for you to get in front of people. They're both great groups, but very different groups. So you've got to be able to have list segmentation so that you can break down that list, your 100 names or 1,000 names or whatever they might be, so that you can know who they all are and what they need and what they want. At the bottom of the contact record, this is the contact record we were just looking at a couple minutes ago. It says, bottom down there, it says, you need custom fields? We've got you covered. You can have 100 custom fields. So this allows you to have custom segments of your list. I don't know. Maybe you would use different terminology if somebody, maybe you're looking for properties or whatever. Maybe somebody's done business with you in the past, or they've never done business with you. Make that a custom field. Maybe they live in Colorado. Maybe they live in California. Make that a custom field. Maybe they're looking for deals over $1 million. Maybe they're looking for deals under $1 million. Make that a custom field. Now you can pull up a segment of your list. Show me people I've never done business with before in Colorado who are looking for deals under $1 million. And now you have a segment of your list. Hey, guess what I just found? Now, show me a segment of my list. People who have done business with me before in California who are looking over $1 million. Got a segment of your list. Hey, guess what I just found? Do you see the importance there of being able to segment that list and know exactly who those people are? And it fits. I'm just sort of mentioning real estate investing and or property investing or whatever along those lines. This would fit for any business, regardless of what you're doing. Now the power is in segmenting that list. A list is fine, but unless you really know who those people are, you're not going to be able to talk to them the right way. So segmenting the list is critical. Here's lesson number 5 that we're learning in our top 10 list. Invisible businesses get robbed every day. Invisible businesses get robbed every day. And it's sometimes painful because sometimes you're an invisible business. An invisible business is someone if I don't think about you, you become invisible. We'll say maybe you're a business coach, okay? Maybe you coach other businesses to be successful and you help them do whatever. So I wake up one day and I say, I need some help with my business. Who could I call to help me do stuff? Now I'm going to think in my mind of some different people. And there's going to be the top of mind person. There's going to be the number 1 person that I think of in my little list in my head. If that person isn't you, you have become invisible and you're getting robbed by whoever that person is. So you've got to do whatever you can to be top of mind, to be the person that people think of, regardless of what your business is. And you do that through email updates, email marketing, email newsletters, and email and text marketing. Texting now as well as part of Keap. Email marketing and text marketing. The most powerful, productive, cost-effective way for you to be number 1 in people's mind. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many emails you send. You can send 1, you can send 1 million. Email marketing is basically free. So send 1 million. I don't want people to think, oh, it's crazy. You're telling me to send 1 million emails. I'm not telling you have to send 1 million emails. But if you're not number 1 in people's minds, you need to send more emails. I don't care where you are in people's minds. I don't care how many emails. If you're not number 1, you got to send more emails. And don't be thinking like, I don't want people to think I'm spamming them or something. This is some group I got associated with once, inspiring speakers or something. Do you see over there on the right-hand side of your screen on the dates when they sent me emails? Do you see how many emails they sent me on October 30th? Can you count how many emails that is? I'll tell you, it's 4. They sent me 4 emails on one day alone. I am not telling you to send 4 emails on one day alone, but you can if you want to. Don't let that stand in the way. Make sure people know who you are, what you can do, how they can work with you. and make sure your messages are getting to them. I know that some people say, when people see that, so often people say, oh, that's horrible. I would hate to do that. People would hate that. They would hate it if you're sending them crappy emails. So don't send crappy emails. Send good emails. Send emails that people want with good information and good tips or stories and anecdotes, something that they like. There's a guy who sends me an email every single day, Robin Kennedy. They're a team and they coach people on different stuff. They send me one email every single day. And they do that to everybody on their entire list. Everyone on their list gets one email every day with an offer, an opportunity to buy something from them. And you can do like a spam rating. You can check and you can find out what your email spam rating is, and how many people reporting you as spam. Okay. So in your mind, what do you think their spam rating might be? The fact they send one email every day to everyone on their list with an offer. From 0 to 100, what would you guess their spam rating is? And now I'll tell you, their spam rating is 0. People don't report you as spam when you show up every day. It's like the neighbor coming over. If I come and knock on your door and say, hey, Bob, good to meet you. Here's your newspaper. Oh, hey, Bob, I just heard about something. I want to let you know. Hey, Bob, hope you're feeling, but whatever. If I show up every day, you're not ever going to say, who is this guy showing up? You know who's showing up. So show up and give good information. Don't be a nosy, bugging, annoying neighbor. Be a good neighbor who shows up. They do that every day. They have good emails. Here's a story of the rule up here in Edinburgh selling CDs. There was this guy we saw us doing stand-up comedy the other day. We were puppy sitting Watson, this puppy that we have. We're trying to buy a hot dog the other day. Every email ends the same way though. Join us, be part of our group, buy our program, whatever it is. I know that, but you know what? It's my favorite email of the day. I always love getting their emails. So send good emails, send reliable emails, send more emails so that you don't become an invisible business. We are halfway through our top 10 list. Let me get to the second half. Lesson number 6. You got to be able to take your business with you, but have boundaries. This is because that work-life balance gets so blurred for entrepreneurs. And, we take our phone with us when we're going out to dinner with our spouse. We take our laptop on vacation so we can get work done. And I get it. We all do. I do it as well. You got to be able to have the technology, but you also got to be able to snooze it, pause it, put it on hold. So there are 2 different things here. Be able to have the technology, but also have the boundaries. So I'm going to show you 2 things. Number 1, you got to have a business phone line. This is a new phone number that will ring through on your cell phone. It's going to be app-based. It's going to go through an app on your phone. You're going to have a new phone number, but it's going to be separate from your regular phone number. When it rings, like, oh, here's a number coming through on my work number, or here's my personal one. You'll have a different voicemail on each one of them. You can pause the work number if you want to, so nobody's able to call you. It just sounds different when you talk to someone. You say, call me on my cell phone, or call me on my work number, call me on my office number. That sounds legitimate. It sounds professional. Sounds expensive. Sounds like you're able to charge more for your services. It's easy to get as well. Normally, you would have to pay extra for this through like Grasshopper or some kind of tool. You don't have to pay extra. This is completely built inside the suite of tools at Keap. You log into the Keap app on your phone, hit the little green K, enter your area code. My area code 480 gives me a whole bunch of options for phone numbers in my area code. I just pick one. That's how simple this is. Give it out. That's my new phone number. Put it on my business card. Put it on my website. Put whatever you want. Even I can text out from this number. Hey, let's meet. Do you see where it says, hey, let's meet in the middle of the screen? There's a camera and a photo, and there's a little desktop calendar there. When I hit that little desktop calendar, that sends out the calendar link that we just created a couple minutes ago. So I send this to Michael. Michael, here's my calendar. Let's talk. And then I get a notification on my phone saying, hey, Michael just booked time on your calendar link. I can then get in the contact record for Michael on my phone. And in the notes, I put whatever notes. Great, I'm talking with Michael. We're going to do business. We're going to do a deal, whatever it is. That's all stuff with the dedicated business phone line. Now I'm going to show you stuff in the mobile app. Powerful, amazing stuff. I already showed you can take a picture of a business card on the app, which is great. You log into the mobile app. Oh, here's your CRM. There's all the people there. You can now marry your text. Maybe text that came in through your phone will then get connected with your CRM. And so Bobby Joe threw it. She was the person we took the picture of her business card and created the contact record. So then the app goes in and says, oh, you sent some text to Bobby Joe. We'll attach those so you can access those as well. I can even make a note. I called Bobby Joe, no answer, left voicemail. Now, a couple of days from now, I'm going to forget what happened. Like, what happened with Bobby Joe? So if I pull up Bobby Joe, it's just like, oh, that's right. No answer, left voicemail. It reminds me, the note reminds me because I made the note and I'm staying organized. I can get in the tasks and I say, call Bobby Joe back. So it's keeping track of what has happened, keeping me on task for what needs to happen. Someone calls me like, oh, it's a new number. You want to add them to your contacts? Yes, I want to do that. Of course, I'm trying to get as many contacts in my CRM and my database as possible. So middle of the screen, there's the same icons. There's a new icon. Do you see the new icon now? There's the camera and the photo and the camera, excuse me, the calendar. And there's like a little business card. That's your contact information. So it says, you want to add them to your contacts? I say, yes, I want to add them. So I hit add contact. Okay, are they a lead or a client? I hit the right button. I push the business card icon. That sends out my, that's the first blue box, the white box there. Here's my contact information. I hit the calendar link. Here's my calendar, book some time with me. And then I can take a picture or use the camera roll. Maybe you're a speaker. Here's a headshot of me speaking. Maybe you're going to invest in a property. Here's a sixplex. You're thinking about doing something there. You now have the power to do work when you want, where you want, with whomever you want, all on your phone. You can take this with you. This makes you powerful beyond belief. It's in your pocket, in your car, wherever you're going. This is stuff you can do from your laptop, stuff from your phone. You can send emails, you can send texts. Do you see? Do you see how much more efficient you're going to be? Here's lesson number 7. Websites are pretty, but landing pages are profitable. Now, I'm just letting you know, I love websites. Websites are important. I believe everybody needs a website. I'm a big believer in websites. That's how people find you. You get credibility from websites. Websites are great, but websites aren't what they once were. Websites now have almost become a distraction. People put so much stuff on their website. I go to your website, there's a story of the history of your company, and there's people talking about how they like working with you, and there's testimonials and videos of you speaking or whatever. Pretty soon I'm on videos, I'm going to YouTube, I'm watching water skiing cats or something. It's a distraction. I wanted to take action. I wanted to connect with you. I wanted to do something with you. And you send me to your website that is a distraction. So landing pages are really the new website. Landing pages are where people take action. It's a single page, single call to action. There's one thing you do on a landing page, whatever that might be. And by the way, you're not going to pay someone thousands of dollars to build a website for you. This is something that you're just going to build on your own. You're going to be able to create the landing page through the Keap landing page building tool. You can drag and drop. There's some templates there and sneak. Don't tell anyone. Brand new landing page overhaul, super fantastic, in beta testing right now, coming probably in a month or so. They told me in October, the new improved landing pages, which will blow your mind. Makes it even easier. Landing pages are great. Clinton Jordan, he's a vocal coach, and he says, I'll coach your choir on how your choir can sing better. Would you like to sign up for that? When you click on sign up, this is the website. When you click from that, it takes you to a landing page where you register for more information. You want to learn how to sing better for yourself? I've got some coaching videos. You want to get instant access? I push that, takes me to a landing page. Oh, this is fantastic. I fill in the information. I get the confirmation. I get the first email come out. Here's the video. You can click right here to play the video to learn how to be better. I can then get a follow-up video. Hey, this is the series I'm going to be sending you. And then he knows, because he has Keap, he can track that. He knows if I'm opening emails, if I'm getting the emails, if I'm clicking on the links. So he has a follow-up. How's it going on you? How's your practice going? Here, I got another video for you. You can click this. And because he knows I did that, now he knows how he can sell something to me. I got a vocal workout volume 2 for you. There's great information here. The power of song. Just go here and there's the little buy now button. So from the landing page, it naturally takes me along the process until I'm paying money, till Jordan's making money. You can now turn your landing pages into money-making machines for you. Anytime you see some page like this where it's sign up here for this, this was Danella's that I told you about. This is a landing page. From websites, this is someone who does some equity loans, scroll down and says, click here to start. Get people off the website, get them to a landing page. This is where I fill out a form and then I get a confirmation. Thanks for signing up. You did exactly what you're supposed to do. That's the beauty of landing pages. People take action. So help people take action so they don't get distracted from you. Okay, lesson number 8. I got 3 lessons to go. The sooner you invoice, the faster you get paid. This affects some people more than others, but I remember when I was first starting out as an entrepreneur, as a coach and consultant and speaker, and people would say, okay, great, it was working with you. Great working with you. Can you send us an invoice? I dreaded hearing that because I didn't have any way to send an invoice and I didn't have any system. I didn't, it always would take me forever. I'm searching online, trying to find some PDF I can turn into an invoice. Built inside of Keap, you can now build quotes and invoices. As simple as that. It's a simple, easy tool. A couple of quick clicks, you create a quote, send it to someone, and you even have a little pipeline. You can see all the different quotes you've sent out. Like, oh, I can see them all. Motivate me to keep working and make all these quotes come to be. Someone says, okay, send me an invoice. Upload your logo, create an invoice. Here's your invoice. You can now pay, you can track the invoices. Here's the ones that have been paid. Here are the ones that are outstanding still. So it helps you at a glance know your money. If you don't know your money, you don't know your business. And this lets you know your money with a pipeline and being able to track your quotes and your invoices and build those. And we integrate with QuickBooks Online. So if you use QuickBooks Online, you're going to love this. You don't have to worry about double manual entry. We integrate with hundreds of different programs. The green circle over on the left is the QuickBooks there. If you enter a payment in QuickBooks or Keap, it will automatically show up in the other one. Okay, lesson number 9. Repetition makes champions. Now, earlier when I was talking to you about CRMs, the CRM is the brain of your business. But this now is the heart and soul of your business. This is really where you're going to be able to connect with people. This is where you're really going to take your business to the next level, is when repetition makes champions. You know, you have already heard the fact of how many touches it takes before someone buys your product or service or whatever, does business with you and does something. Like it's 7. It used to be 7. Now it's probably like 107. It's this. Want to do business? Want to do business? Want to do business? Want to do business? And you get tired of that asking. But that asking is the repetition that leads to business, which leads to you being a champion. That's how Olympic athletes are. That's how masterful musicians are. They have to practice. They have to keep doing it over and over. And that's what makes them a champion. The same thing happens with you and your business. That repetition, this, you want to do business, is the repetition that helps you make a champion. You don't have to worry about doing that literally yourself. So you let automation do that. You let automated campaigns ask for the business for you. Stay in touch with people, nurture people, drive people to a deal, and make money for you. Keap does basically 2 things: gets people to your database and then turns that database into money. That's what this is all, the whole point of this whole thing. And you do that through automation. Let me give you a couple examples. This is a group, they do some residential assisted living homes. So the start of what they do is this ad on Facebook. So they take out an ad on Facebook where they offer a free book, help keep seniors safe during COVID. So they then target people who have searched for retirement for mom or something along those lines. If you Googled something like that, this ad will pop up on your feed. And I say, oh, this would be a good book. This book would be helpful. I should request this book. So I click on the button, takes me to a landing page. All the pieces are coming together here. The landing page I fill out, I instantly get the first email. Hey, welcome. Here's the information. Here's the book we promised you. And then they send me other emails. This is part of this nurturing, growing the relationship, the trust factor. And they continue to get me information. Here's why smaller is better in assisted living. Here's why. And they continue to send some of that. They have Keap, so they have a calendar link, so they can say, hey, book some time with us. Let's come take a tour. We'll show you around. We'll get to have you talk with something. And eventually the whole goal is to book a place for mom. They say, we booked a place for your mom. Click here for the confirmation letter. Everything from that first book that went out to the welcome letter was all sent through automation. That's how they grow their business without them doing the work. Friend of mine, Michelle, she is a speaker. Maybe some of you want to use speaking to grow your business and find more deals. There are 2 kinds of speakers: those who speak for hire, you pay them to come speak, or those who speak to promote their business. Michelle actually does both. So if you want to pay her, she can come speak to your group, write her a check. She'll come talk about the importance of happiness. If you don't pay her, she says, great, I'll come talk about social media marketing. And all I ask is that I can collect the contact information of the people in the room. So which do you think Michelle would rather do? She's trying to make money, remember. Have someone pay her to come speak to their group, or have someone not pay her and she just collects the contact information? any day, every day, she would rather speak for free and collect the contact information. Because while she does that, while she's on stage, she says, I've got this great resource for you. I've got this time trap guide. Go here, fill out the form. I'll send it to you. People all go, they enter their information. She has emails ready to go. Hey, thanks for connecting. Thanks for your kind words. I'm glad we were able to connect. Yada, yada, yada. Here are the slides I promised you, or whatever it is. That's the start of the relationship. She has other emails set and ready to go and grows that relationship until finally she says, hey, I've got a book. You want to buy my book for 20 bucks? Hey, I've got a social media blueprint guide for 80 bucks. You want to buy that? Hey, I'm putting on a live event or a virtual event. Would you like to buy a ticket for that? Tickets are 300 to 1,000 bucks. She makes way more money off of that, off of getting people into her database and nurturing them and making them an offer. She'll make way more money there than she ever does from speaking for a fee. For a fee, she gets paid once. For this, she can get paid forever because she has a back end, she has campaign, she has automation. Ryan Levesque, he's a business coach. And he says, let me tell you what kind of business you should start. I'll put you through this little quiz. He does little quiz funnels. So he says, let me ask you a couple of questions. I like taking the little quizzes. So I answered the questions and he says, you should start a PBEF business. Now, you don't know what that means. So give me your email address and I'll explain that to you. So I enter my email address in. Now he sends me a customized video. So you understand the process right here. I've done through the quiz, the funnel. He has all my information. He has information about me. I'm in his database. He has me segmented in that database. So all the things we've been talking about, from the landing page and the segmentation and the database and all the stuff, now the automation happens. The email goes out. You're PBEF. This is what this means. PB means you're passion-based. You're a passionate person. You should start a passionate business. EF means it should be event-focused. You should have live events or workshops or something like that. That's the first email. Then more emails. Hey, it's Ryan here. Here's some more information for you because you are PBEF. Hey, here's some other expanded results here for you because you're a PBEF. He continues to nurture me. He basically reaches out. He's got his arm around me and he says, look, I want to get you to the finish line. I want to help you in any way I can. I know who you are. I know what your needs are. I want to help you. And I feel that because the emails, the automation, nurturing, the sequence of that whole campaign is built. The automation gets that relationship. Let me tell you about Elizabeth. She's a nutritionist and she says, I've got a little quiz. I'll tell you what mistake is killing your healthy habit efforts. I go, oh, I like the quizzes. I'm a guy. I like to eat cupcakes. She asks me a couple more questions and she says, okay, I've got your results for you. Enter your information. So I enter in my information and she says, you've got goal confusion. You want to eat cupcakes. You want to lose weight. Those don't work well together. That's the first email. Then guess what happened after that? Nothing happened after that. Not a single thing happened after that. I never got a single other email from Elizabeth. I basically raised my hand and said, Elizabeth, I need help. I have goal confusion. I want to eat cupcakes. I want to lose weight. Can you help me? Elizabeth has great resources. She's got recipes. She's got guides. She's got books. She's got all sorts of amazing stuff. But she doesn't have any automation. She doesn't have any way to reach out and automate that nurture and getting people to the finish line. I raised my help and said, I raised my hand and said, I need help. But I didn't get anything. I don't want any of you to be like Elizabeth. I don't want you to be like Elizabeth. She has great stuff. I just don't want you to be missing out on that automation. I want you to be like Ryan or Michelle or Sage Oak or Chevelle or all the other people I've talked about. All of them have automation to get you to the finish line, or to get a customer to the finish line. Lesson number 10, our 10th and final thing on our top 10 list is that all in one place beats all over the place. This is a mistake so many entrepreneurs make because it's how we start off. And this is how we get all over the place. We get our little MailChimp or our Constant Contact, then we get our Calendly and we get our lead pages and we get all these different tools. And pretty soon we're all over the place. We got a bunch of different tools. We're spending half our day logging in and out of things. This is an ad from Radio Shack from 1990. There's a computer and a calculator and a video camera and an alarm clock and a music player and all sorts of amazing stuff on there. And do you know that everything on that ad is now on your phone? Everything there is here. And there's a reason why everybody has a phone in their pocket and Radio Shack's trying to figure out how to survive is because all in one place beats all over the place. If I asked you to build a birdhouse and gave you a bunch of mismatched tools, that's not a system. That's not a way to run a business. You can't build a birdhouse that way. You can't build a business that way. Instead, picture having all the tools you would need, like 32 blades on a Swiss Army knife. Oh, look, there's a calendar and a CRM and a phone tool and the building the quotes and invoices, all that kind of stuff in the hands of a robot, because it's got automated landing pages and automated campaigns sitting on a pile of cash. This is your business model. This is what I want for you. All the tools that you need in the right place, all together, all automated. This is what can happen. Literally, all the people that I've talked to you about are using this business model, the automated robot with the pocket knife. People like Damon John from Shark Tank. First question he asks people when he partners with them, he says, do you have Keap or are you getting it? That's how I know you're serious. Dave Ramsey, Tony Robbins, Jack Canfield, many of the people who appear on the High Performance Success Summit, including Jason and some of the others who you've heard today, use Keap to run their business. It's how they run their business and stay in touch with people and grow their business and are successful. That's what I want for you. Otherwise, you need to get all these random tools and try to put them together, and they each cost money, and you're going to be spending a bunch of money. And none of these talk to each other. With Keap, not only do they talk to each other, they are each other. They're all the same tool in one place. There are 3 different levels of Keap that I want to walk you through. Keap Max is a robust, powerful tool. It has tools that most of you probably don't need. And so I'm not going to worry about Keap Max. Keap Pro is my favorite. Keap Pro is the best. It's kind of like our flagship. And Keap Pro has all the tools I've talked about, all the organization tools, all the automation tools, all are in Keap Pro. It's the best. And then there's Keap Lite. Keap Lite does not have the automated campaigns or the automated landing pages. So you're not going to really save as much time as you could. So Keap Pro is the best option. So I bundled together some stuff for you. Now, this is the most exciting part of the whole day, because this is where I get to show you how you can take advantage of this. Because right now you're like, oh, I need that. I need that. I know that would be great. Oh, that'd be helpful. This is how you make all this work. Now I'm going to put this all in your hands and let you see how you can be using all these tools to get organized, get customers, and get paid. There's a different price point for each of these 3. Keap Pro is $149 a month. Keap Lite is $79 a month. If you got those tools that they replace one by one, it would cost you way more than $149. But here's the good news. Everything I'm going to show you now is all good news. Because you're here, because you're watching the High Performance Success Summit, because Jason is our partner, he is able to extend partner pricing options to you. So you get, it's like you're getting wholesale pricing at the car dealership or something. None of you has to pay $149 a month. We've reduced the price to $99 a month. You will never have to pay more than $99 for our partner pricing. And it gets better on top of that. This is a normal order form for one of our partners when we come through the partner program. The middle column, you're going to get an account that has 1 user, 500 contacts. A little bit below that, you're going to get 3 one-on-one coaching sessions as part of your onboarding coaching training. That's a $500 investment for the 3 calls. But remember what I told you. It's all good news. Everything I show you now, you're going to be cheering. Here it goes. You're grandfathered in at $99. You will never pay more than $99. You are grandfathered in. There is already a rate increase hike scheduled. If it hasn't already taken place, going up to $159, that's not going to affect you. That will never affect you because you're getting signed up now when you're getting the discount at $99. You will never pay more than $99. Got it? Grandfathered in forever. I'm going to increase your database size. So it goes from 500 to 2,500. You're going to get an account, a database account that's going to be 2,500 contacts that you'll be able to put in there. 2,500. You don't have to sign. You don't have to pay for that. You don't have to pay anything extra. This is all completely this is your upgrade free. You're going to get 2 users. I'm going to get you an additional user for free. You don't have to pay for the extra user. You don't have to pay for the additional contacts because you're getting signed up now and getting that all for free. If you have campaigns somewhere else, I don't know, like ConvertKit or something like that, we will help you migrate those over, and you get 50% off your first 3 months. 50% off your first 3 months. $49 if you're doing the math in your head. $49. There are a lot of things you could do for $49. I could take my wife out to dinner. I could take my teenage son and his friends to Taco Bell. That's $49. But for $49, you are now investing with the most powerful, significant investment in your business for $49. each of the first 3 months, not just the first month, 3 months at $49 before that discount $99 goes in. We want to make sure you understand how to use Keap. And so I'm going to get you access to this video course. Brian and Greg put this together. You're going to love them. There's some great videos. They're going to walk you through all this stuff. We've reached out to this company. It's called Success Engine. They're going to do your onboarding and coaching and training. And I said, hey, I'm going to be speaking at the High Performance Success Summit with Jason on Saturday. Can you guys do the coaching and training? Because they're a small little boutique agency. And they said, yes. And not only we will do that, instead of 3 calls, we're going to give 4 calls. So you get 4 one-hour coaching sessions. You and Todd, you and Jasmine, one-on-one for 4 hours. You want to build landing pages? They'll help you do that. You want to build campaigns? They'll help you do that. Set up your calendar link, whatever. They'll set you up with anything for 4 one-hour sessions. And they're even going to do a booster webinar on Tuesday. So this is why you need to get signed up ASAP, because we're going to do this webinar on Tuesday. Excuse me. This is going to make sure, this gives you a little booster. Make sure you know how to log in, add a contact, do some simple things. You're going to get the webinar on Tuesday, which will allow you to get more out of those 4 personal coaching sessions and the video course we're getting you access to. Cost of all that, it's free. You don't have to pay anything for it. The value is through the roof. We used to literally charge $5,000 for training that was not even as good. You're getting it all completely for free. You don't have to pay a penny for anything. We're paying them. Don't worry, we got them covered. You don't have to pay anything. And you don't even have to sign a contract. There is no long-term agreement here. There is nothing. This is month by month. Don't worry. If it's not working for you, don't worry. But we want it to work for you. We are putting every possible resource behind you that we can put it together, and to make it so there's a no-brainer. I don't want anyone to worry about, oh, I don't know if I should do this or not. It can't be the cost. This is the lowest cost we've ever been able to put together. It can't be, I don't know if I'll be able to do this. We've got the best coaching and training for you. It can't be, I don't want to be trapped into something. There's no contract. You're not trapped into anything. This is so that you can make this happen. You can make this as a tool in your business to help you be successful, regardless of what. There are people in all walks of life. If you're in real estate investing, Million Acres company, a division of Motley Crue, calls Keap the greatest CRM for real estate investing. It's ranked as one of the easiest CRMs to use and business automation tools. All you have to do is go to keapnow.com/HPSS. Keapnow.com/HPSS. That's how you're going to get access to this. I'm going to run through the stuff one more time for you. You're going to get 2,000 bonus contacts in your database. You're going to get a bonus user. Your onboarding is completely free. You don't have to pay for any of that. There's no contract required. And you're getting 50% off each of your first 3 months. $49. You're out the door for $49. Literally, when I started with Keap years ago, there was, I think at that point, it was a $2,000 sign-up fee and $300 a month. So people literally, that first month was $2,300. You're out the door for $49.50. Keapnow.com/HPSS. Keap is spelled Keap. I like to think of it as keep everything all in one place. Keap Now. Make sure you put now, keapnow.com/HPSS. You're going to see a page that looks like this. Simple, easy. You fill in stuff. You click that blue button. That blue button is what lets you take your business to a new level. That blue button lets you say, okay, I'm ready to automate. I'm ready to organize. I'm ready to do amazing stuff. I'm ready to have some people help me take this into the year 2021 and 2022 and beyond. All the tools and technology that are out there. Keapnow.com/HPSS. If you have any questions, some of you might be watching this later on a recording or something, there's my personal cell phone number. That email address will go to my team. So multiple people could see that. If you have any kind of questions, you're like, oh, but I was wondering about how this works or how that can this work, whatever. Send us an email, send me a text or a call. But the most important thing is that on the top, keapnow.com/HPSS. That's how you take advantage of it. So Jason, hopefully we've gotten everybody set up. We've answered any questions, shown them how they can do amazing stuff in their business. And we got them the resources that they need, and we'll welcome them all to the Keap family.
Hey, thank you so much, Darin. Darin Adams had a great presentation. You want to definitely go to keapnow.com/HPSS and sign up for Keap. I use Keap for my own marketing on systems as well. So it's a great tool, great software. It'll definitely help keep you organized and make you more money. So you definitely want to go reach out to Darin Adams. I just want to thank Darin Adams so much for speaking at the High Performance Summit today.
My pleasure. Thanks, Jason.
Okay. Now, like I said, I want to welcome everyone. This event mastery success presentation. My name is Jason Burke, CEO of High Performance Summit and event coach. And just to tell you a little bit about myself, produced over 200 live and virtual events since 2010. I'm a published Amazon author of a book, Become Big Star in Event Planning. I worked with some of the top business and real estate influencers that include raising capital with Brad Blazar, raised $2 billion. You saw, spoke earlier to the High Performance Summit. Mark Million, Paul Fink, the CEO of Realty Forum Magazine, Expo and Pelagas. I have an interesting story how I met Linda back in 2012. One of my friends in Vegas, Kyle Hatch, told me I needed to meet Linda. And I was going to the CrossFit Games, my friend Mark Carl, who ran the Outback Group back in 2012 in San Diego. So for the one day, Mark drove me up to LA, dropped me off at Linda's Expo. I got to attend Linda's Expo, meet Linda, and we went on to do 6 real estate expos in the Las Vegas market and continue to support each other's events to this day. I also met CEO of Power Team International, Bill Walsh, in 2014. Bill was the last speaker at Michael Lafferty's O'Connell Summit. I was already running the real estate groups. I volunteered to run the entrepreneur groups. And for 4 years, I ran Power Team International events in the Las Vegas, Nevada market, and helped assist with the corporate events before launching the High Performance Summit. Now, what we're going to cover today is how to keep your events on budget and speaker selection strategies. And we're really going to focus on those 2 for this presentation right now. Now, a venue sponsor strategy, this is a great strategy when you're first starting out. A venue sponsor strategy is where companies will sponsor your event by providing the venue, either free or for low cost, and they'll do the same thing with the AB. Now, the key with the venue sponsor strategy is the following. You got to make sure you clearly communicate what's in it for the company that's sponsoring your event. This means you got to learn, like, say, okay, we're going to get more, you're going to get to speak in front of so many people. You're going to get so many more leads and clients. You're going to get more recognition, whatever you promise that company you want to deliver on. Because the more you deliver for them, the more they'll keep hosting your events. And this, as an event organizer, will save you thousands of dollars. And I know this because I've saved thousands of dollars in doing this strategy, especially in my lot events in Las Vegas, Nevada, and my real estate and business events. So if you do the strategy right, this will save you thousands, because a lot of these companies will give you their training space for free or very low cost. They'll even throw in the AV or give you the AV for low cost, which is cheaper than you would pay a hotel. Now, when it comes to saving money on hotel meeting space, here are some tips. Get 5 or 6 quotes from different hotels in the area you want to host your event. Then compare those quotes and go back to the hotels you want to host the event and mention the competitor's low price and see if they'll match that price. If they won't match that price, ask for some concessions, maybe free food, free sleeping rooms, so some guest speakers. Maybe you get a discounted rate on the AV or get some free AV they throw in. Use those tactics to get a better deal for yourself. And also find out what day the hotel has a slower day. So if you have your event on a slow day that doesn't have as much business for them, they may be willing to lower the price down or give you even more concessions just so they can fill that space for that day. Now, when it comes, also another thing is when it comes to sleeping rooms, a lot of the hotels will do what they call the hotel room block. You don't want to do the hotel room block. You want to negotiate a discounted rate, like say 10, 20%, where people can book sleep rooms directly through the hotel. Because you got to realize a lot of people are not going to book the sleep rooms to the hotel because they'll go to Travelocity, Expedia, and they'll get better deals, and the hotels sell their meeting rooms cheaper to those sites because they're buying in bulk. Where I learned this lesson because we did our first high performance assessment live event in 2018 at the Palms. I got stuck with a $10,000 bill of sleeping rooms. So I learned this through the lesson through the School of Hard Knocks. But this will save you a lot of money, because what you want to do is let the hotel, you can get a discount code. They can go to the hotel's website. They can put it in. They'll save money through the hotel. But you let the hotel continue to sell their sleeping rooms to other guests, so you're not on a hook for the rooms that they can't fill. This will save you thousands of dollars in the strategy. Now, another strategy when it comes to saving money, called the food minimum. If you buy enough food, hotels will give you the meeting space for free. So what you want to do is figure out how much, ask the hotel that you want to have this meeting at, how much food do I need to buy to get the meeting space for free, and compare that to the quote they gave you for the meeting space alone. And sometimes it's cheaper to buy the food than buy the meeting space. And that's what you want to do. That will save you money. You can always go get sponsors to pay for the food as well. Now, when it comes to AV, here's some strategies that'll save you money on AV. You want to own your own equipment if you're doing local events like projector screen, projector, flip chart. These are some of the basic items. Now, if you're traveling to different cities to do events, another thing you want to do is you want to get quotes from the hotels and then compare if it's cheaper to transport your own equipment or to use the AV equipment at the hotel. You also want to do what's best for your organization. Also realize that some hotels are union shop versus non-union shop. Union shops may not allow you to bring your own AV equipment. So it means you're going to have to pay them to use their AV equipment and pay the AV person. So you need to find that out. If you're going to do your event at a union hotel, you want to negotiate that give you the flexibility to bring your own AV. I prefer non-union hotels just because you get to bring in your own AV and you're not required to use the AV person. So you need to be aware of that. That's really important. So that's some tips when it comes to saving money and keeping your events on budget. Now, when it comes to speaker selection strategies, here are some strategies for you. One, you want to determine if a speaker is a good fit based on the topic they have, because you know your audience, if that topic's going to resonate or not. And if that topic's going to resonate, then that's great. Also, if that speaker is selling a coaching program or service, you want to know if that price point is going to be a good fit too, because you as a coach know how much your coaching clients are paying you or outside speakers that you bring in to speak at your event. So if your clients are used to paying you $1,000 to say $5,000, you bring in someone that's selling a $50,000 coaching program, it may not be a good outcome. Where if your clients are used to paying $30,000 or more, you bring someone that's selling a $500 program, they may not see that as enough value. So you want to be cognizant of that, make sure that aligns, it's a good fit. If not, refer them to another stage. If not, then go to the next step, which is negotiating the revenue share agreement. Remember, a lot of speakers have 30 and 45-day money-back guarantees, so you're not going to see commissions out till 30 to 45 days. Some companies will do it in a week to 2 weeks. So every company's refund policy is different. You need to be aware of that, and you need to have that in writing. Now, typically when coaches are charging like $3,000 or less, it's usually the split's usually 50-50, no less than 25 to 50% on average, depending on the coach, between 25 to 50% revenue share on that. Also, if the program's 10,000 or more, you look at more between 5 to 15% split, because the coach has more cost in that program. And you need to have that in writing, when you're going to get paid, how much the revenue share, and then also how long the speaker is going to speak, what they're going to get to present, if there's any restrictions or not. That all has to be in your speaker agreement and contract. And so you want to be aware of that. Now, when it comes to booking big thought leaders for your events, here are some tips. One, you want to make sure the big thought leader has a sphere of influence that aligns with your event and the ideal person you want to attend the event. If they don't align, you don't necessarily want to book the big thought leader to speak. If they do, the next is if you can get the person to speak for free or do revenue share on the back end, that's an ideal situation. But in some cases, they want the speaking fee and travel expenses paid, or one or the other. In that case, this is a criteria you have to look at. One, how many ticket sales am I going to sell because the big thought leader is associated with this event? Two, how many sponsors am I going to attract because the person is associated with the event? Three, how many coaching program sales are we projected to make? Four, do I get to work with this person on a mastermind, bigger events in the future that'll drive more revenue and business for your company? Now, there's two ways to look at this. If you look at straight the numbers, if the revenue number is greater than expense, then do the deal. Now, if the expense is greater than the revenue number, but you're doing it as a relationship play, then what you want to do is you want to make sure you have revenue to cover the shortfall and still proceed with the deal, because you're building that relationship and it will lead to bigger and better business for you. Now, here's some ways that you can promote your events, and we're going to go over this a little bit. Speaking sponsor is a great way. There's two different ways of speaking sponsor. If you're speaking sponsor, things like chambers, BNI, the tips, typically you're going to have a table of 2 to 5 minutes to speak. You're also, what you want to do is attend a few of those meetings, get a feel for the group to make sure it's a good group for you to sponsor, that you'll get real business out of it. And you also want to have like what I call raffle, like give away Amazon gift card or something to entice people to put the information in so you can follow up and get them into your database, which is really important, especially with those types of group. And then there's a different kind of speaker sponsor where you're sponsoring events, seminars, exhibits, expos, where you get to speak for 30 to 90 minutes and sell from the stage, have a venue booth, have the traffic. You want to determine, attend one of these events and determine if that's a great fit for you to where you need to spend your money. So speaking and sponsoring is a great strategy. Using Eventbrite is a great strategy, especially if you're first starting out. You can create a free page. You can create your subject line. You can create the body and your description. You want to have what's in it for them to attend the event, who are you, why they should care, what are the takeaways, and a call to action. You want to have those in there. You want to have good photos and videos that you can put in the description because you can use the up and down arrows to insert them. You can also create an online event. You can put the webinar event and do the same thing you did in the main description. Also, when you click on the button order forms, order options, you want to click order forms and make sure it's buyers only, because buyers only allows you to customize the settings to include the cell phone number, because the default settings for Eventbrite are email and name. You want to have email, name, and cell phone so you can reach out by call, text, and email to remind people of your upcoming event. So Eventbrite's a great way. We have LinkedIn events. LinkedIn events is great. You can invite your LinkedIn connections to attend your event. You just need to be aware that some people treat it as a LinkedIn invitation. So when they accept your LinkedIn event invitation, you got to say, thank you for accepting a LinkedIn event invitation. Please reserve your seat. Click on this link. Instruct them to do that. Your own email marketing database. Now, when it comes to email marketing, it's important to build your own list. And Darin went into this when he talked about Keap, which is a great service. You really want to build your own database because that's a database you control. And you build on that so you can send messages, you can segment your list. So it's really valuable for you. Now, Facebook groups. This is another great way. You want to have a public and a private Facebook community. Public can be for people that are consuming your public information, posts, content, tips. Now, your private Facebook group is for your private coaching clients only that are paying you to be part of your coaching community. And that group is content related for them only. Now, Meetup is another great way. You can create a Meetup group for, like, in the Meetup plans, Meetup Basic to Meetup Pro is $12 to $35 a month per group. What Meetup does is once you create the group, they'll push it out to the Meetup community in the city you selected within 3 days, and they'll stop marketing your group. So you want to have a good description. You want to have a good cover photo. You want to tell people what's the community about, why they should be involved in the community. Then you can get the chance to create events. You want to have a good description, your good photo, call to action, why send it for them, who are you and why they should care. You can broadcast messages out to your Meetup community. You can segment that list as well. You'll have message board features on Meetup. So yeah, it's a really great tool, especially with starting out, but you want to make sure that people are opted into your database off of Meetup. Just don't rely on them to be on Meetup alone. Now, another great way is Instagram. Instagram is heavily reliant on photos and videos, and you want to be consistent with it. And once you get to 10,000 users, followers, you can use the swipe up option on Instagram. So these are just some ways that you could fill your events that I just wanted to touch on these ways. Now, what I talk about is joining our Event Mastery Success Coaching Program. We have two versions. Our Event Mastery Success Lite Coaching Program, which is $9.97, includes access to the Event Mastery Success Video Library Vault, which is videos by me on different event topics you're going to need to be successful in events, speaker selection workbook, how to keep your events on budget, how to fill your events workbook, copy of my book, Become a Big Star in Event Planning. And that is on a Event Mastery Success Lite program, which is really do it yourself. Do It With You program is our Event Mastery Success Premier Coaching Program, $1,997. And it includes 12 45-week 12 45-minute bi-weekly coaching sessions for 6 months with me, Jason Burke, founder of the High Performance Summit. It also requires, you get text and email support in between the calls with me. So any questions arise that you have access to a private Facebook community, early access and tickets to our Event Mastery Success and High Performance Summit events, speaker select, and you get everything that was in the Event Mastery Success Life Coaching Program with the Premier, besides the coaching sessions with me. We also have 2 and 3 payments as well. So take action today. I want to thank you for joining our presentation. Sign up for the Event Mastery Success Coaching Program. Go to www.hbssuccess.com/event coaching and sign up. And what we're going to do right now, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Who's left? I'm going to announce the winner of the Amazon gift card. And the winner of the Amazon gift card is Alina Giddens. Lena is a winner for the Amazon gift card. So Lena, you just want to text message me and I will ship that out to you. Alina Giddens is our winner for Amazon gift card drawing today. Also, before we wrap up for day 1 of the High Performance Summit, day 1 of the High Performance Summit, tomorrow we're going to have day 2. And I just want to preview what we're going to have in day 2. We're going to have Raising Capital expert Brad Blazar back, and he's going to talk more about the secrets of raising money. We're going to have also myself come in and talk about how to run your events the day of the events. And I'm going to really dive into that in that topic. We're going to have Chris Miller talk about the money DNA. She's a wealth strategist and expert. She's going to be talking about that. So we have an impactful day 2 of the High Performance Summit virtual summit starting tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time.